Good evening, everybody. Good evening, and we are back. We are back with Brian, and his channel is called Brian's Logic. In case you don't know him, he has appeared on the show several times in the past, doing several different presentations, mainly regarding the celestial bodies. So, this evening we've got Brian, who's going to be addressing some points made by Joe Kovacs and Professor Phil Bell. So obviously I assume that he respects their comments, he respects the whatever it is that they brought up that they may have against whatever his presentation is, and I'm sure he's going to iron some things out. So Brian, let's do a mic check, let's just see if you're there. Hello, Brian.
Hello.
Hello, good stuff. You're coming through good. Before we get started, Brian, just one sec. I'm just going to pop you on mute again. I just want to check the mic was working, so I'll just pop you on mute. And let me just go over here. I'm just going to show this. So today, in case you hadn't noticed, I put a video out. It was a very short one, Fight the Flat Earth. And essentially what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to get some consensus going on with what the globe proponents are actually trying to say right now, what the flat earthers are trying to do. Let's try and get some discussion going, let's try and get some debate happening. So, Fight the Flat Earth essentially wants to debate Sleeping Warrior. Sleeping Warrior wanted a concession from Fight the Flat Earth that gravity is not a force. Somewhat of a concession was made. I don't think it's 100% what Sleeping Warrior wanted. It was good, but not quite what he needs. I don't know whether this is actually going to happen. However, Fight the Flat Earth put a community comment out, and I actually said, I tell you what, if you want to debate, I will offer the platform and be the moderator. To which he's actually said, sounds fair, and he wants to dual stream it on his channel. So there we go. That's some kind of movement. We have a place for this to happen. If it's ever going to happen, it's now been agreed that Fight the Flat Earth, and I'm sure Sleeping Warrior will be happy to do it on this channel too. So we have a place for this to happen. It's just a case of, can we get these two to this table? Can we get them to discuss this gravity issue? And I think with Fight the Flat Earth, it's more to do with the gas pressure without a container. But we shall see. We shall see how it formats, and if this is ever going to happen. But if it does, be rest assured it's going to happen on this channel. So, Brian, so I was just explaining before that Professor Phil Bell and Joe Kovacs were the two people that you want to respond to. Could you just tell us a quick brief recap as to why it is that those two people are the ones that you want to actually address?
Yeah, well, I'll give a bit of background. This is the third presentation on this that I brought out on the sunrise speeds. Basically, the whole idea was I couldn't call it the speed of the sun, but it was how fast the sunrise would get from one place to another. Trying to find out what is the average speeds of a sunrise around the Tropic of Cancer, the equator, and the Tropic of Capricorn. And I found some pretty strange stuff, especially at the Tropic of Capricorn. That was really strange. And I could kind of explain it with the original flat out solar analemma. It could be explained with that, but not with the globe one. But the problem was there was too many problems with the Tropic of Capricorn consistently, and it wasn't making sense. Now, two people, Joe Kovacs, and Kovacs did give me some critiques, all right, in comments. But Joe Kovacs was more the driving force with it. And Joe Kovacs gave me a lot of critiques with the first presentation, and I took his critiques on board. He didn't call me a flat-haired or an idiot or any other things like that. He was kind of very genuine about it, and so he was using, and his critiques were good. They were intelligent critiques. So I took them, and when I brought out my second presentation on the same subject, dealing with those critiques, one of them was elevation, and another one, there was different. There was elevation, and there was the fact that I was using only a couple of locations on each tropic and the equator, where I needed where the critique was if I add more. Crow XE spotted this as well. If I add more locations, then it changes the average. And then also, as well as that, there was me not adding enough locations. there was the elevation issue, how elevation might affect the sunrise in different places, and then there was daylight savings time. Now, I dealt with them them in the second presentation, but Joe Kovacs had other critiques, which was fair enough, and I'm totally happy for people to have critiques, especially if they're intelligent. I have no problems at all, and people are treating me okay and deal with me, let's say, in a genuinely good manner. No bothers. I'll accept whatever they are. And so he gave critiques on my second one, because in my second one I used 4 locations for each tropic and the equator as an average, and I also gave averages from east to west with them, and added both of the averages together as well, and did everything like that. I dealt with the elevation issue in my second one. It didn't make any difference, whatever elevations were there. The daylight savings thing would have made a difference a bit, all right. But basically, what I'm going to show here is at the end of this presentation, I'm going to show something. This might seem crazy to people who are watching it and listening to it. What I'm going to show here at the end of this presentation makes the whole thing completely obsolete. Now, it doesn't make the presentations completely obsolete, as in people can look at them and see what is done in them, and they can see what it was I was doing and how I came to this conclusion. But the thing I'm going to show at the very end makes the questions about it from anyone and the actual presentations obsolete. Now, it doesn't harm what I was doing. It actually helps it in the end, but it makes the whole thing obsolete. Now, Joe Kovacs and critiqued it a lot. And Professor Phil Bell, he made a video asking me questions about that and some other things. And he was respectful too. He didn't give me, abuse me, call me a flat-hard or an idiot and all these kind of things. So I had to give him a response too. So I have a response here to Professor Phil Bell and to Joe Kovacs. But the part at the end is going to make the whole thing obsolete, and people will understand what that means at the end. Okay. So certain things I'll have to skip over because they won't. Because me talking about them won't mean anything. Because at the end, it'll show. I will say people will understand at the end why I skipped over them. There was one other thing as well with it. Oh, what was it? I'm trying to remember now. One other thing. It's not coming to me there. It's after going out of my head. But it won't matter anyway. But basically, it's a response to Phil Bell and Joe Kovacs. But at the end, there's something I'm going to show that will make everything, any questions about it, and my presentations, the whole thing obsolete.
Okay. Excellent stuff. So, one last thing before we carry on. I just want to show my Patreon account. So if anybody feels like they want to support the show, they want to support the format, and they want to see more of this work and this research, etc., they can go and support the show, support me. If you like the content, if you like what you see, and you feel like you want to be a Patreon, I really would appreciate it. The link is in the info box, and if you can't see the info box, it is dead easy. You go to Patreon and you just look up Ranty Flat Earth. You'll find me there. Right, so Brian, are you ready to present, my friend?
Yes, support Ranty.
Thank you very much, Brian. Right, okay, so I'm going to go on mute, so I'm going to leave you to it. Okay. Take your time, there's no need to rush. It's not like last time. We're not under any kind of pressure tonight, so away you go and knock yourself out.
Wonderful. I should be over in less than an hour anyway. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Ranty. Okay, I'm going to start with addressing some of Professor Phil Bell's questions in the video he made. I'm hoping that I have them all answered here. First one was, I'm not trying to claim anything directly about the speed of the sun, just the sunrise speed specifically. Phil Bell asked me about the speed of the sun, and talking about how I think he kind of mixed it up that I was maybe stating that what I was showing was the speed of the sun, and I couldn't claim that it was the speed of the sun because it was the sun. It was the speed the sun would reach, the sunrise, which would be light reaching different places. So I was getting an average of that as opposed to a speed of the sun, because I can't get a speed of the sun because if I look online for a speed of the sun, it won't give you a speed of the sun. It will give you the speed that the Earth is supposed to be going around the sun at, and at that particular time of year. At one time of year, the perihelion aphelion is at its slowest, because it's at furthest from the sun in that model, and then the opposite time of year in January. Now it's at its closest to the sun, and it's moving at its fastest, and that's the rhetoric of Kepler's analemma. So I couldn't get that, so I was trying to find some kind of independent way of getting some kind of an idea of how fast it's moving, but I certainly wasn't calling it the speed of the sun, because I wouldn't have been able to call it that, as it wouldn't have been in any way proving the actual speed of the sun, but it would have given an indication of what it was, let's just say. So yeah, the tropics. The second question he asked me in the video was that about the tropics being slower than the equator, and it proving the globe. No, what was happening there is he took the given equator size up for debate for a start, right? That's a separate issue, kind of. The equator size in my presentation is the closest match for a general equator size for the globe is from one of several average speeds taken concerning the equator. So it's based around the basic equator size of 24,940 miles in circumference. But all this kind of, this is what I'm saying. It's like I'm going to tell everyone these things and go through them, but it all becomes obsolete at the end anyway. In a lot of ways, a lot of what I'm going to talk about becomes obsolete at the end, but I'm still going to tell people, because it won't mean anything unless I tell people and then show them at the end what it is. The equator size on a flat Earth is going to be completely different from what the globe is, because the globe's equator is based on a radius, right? A radius from center to the outside, as opposed to the distance from what would be on the globe the north geographic pole to the equator. It's going to be a lot longer and further than just what the radius is. But I had to work with whatever I was being given online with the likes of time and date and whatever. So this number here is a number that Phil Bell thought was proving that because this is 1024 was an average speed at the equator, one of the average speeds at the equator that I got. This is another one here, and this is another one here, 971 and 1017 miles per hour. But the thing about this one here is this is all four locations that I had added together, and an average of those, and an average, and added together with the average speed from east to west as well. So it was an amalgamation, so it wasn't a true average speed. Whereas here is 1004 miles per hour here, and that's an average speed over 6 locations, so that, at the equator. So that is a much more average speed at the equator of sunrises. Going by the whole 24,940 mile equator, right? If going by that, but. This is kind of tricky, really, because I'm talking about stuff here that is obsolete, because on a flat Earth, it's not going to be 24,900 miles in circumference. It can't be. It's impossible. It's only possible on a globe. But I have to work with whatever was being given, right? On a flat Earth, the equator is going to be right. If I use the only way I have of measuring it is using the North Geographic Pole to the equator. The only way I have of measuring that, is that as a radius, as a straight line radius. And that would make it 38,998.8 miles in circumference at the equator. Okay, so that's another reason why this is kind of obsolete, but I'm going to go through it anyway. So this 1024 was not a correct average. It was just an average I put together in case anyone wanted to critique that. Right? Why don't you add the east to west average with the 4 location average? Whereas this one here is from 6 locations and it's 1004 miles per hour, and that's the average that I could get at the equator. Now, none of this makes when I'm going to show people at the end, all that won't matter, because none of it will make any sense, because it won't matter. It's just it will all become obsolete. Okay. Both of my tropics in the presentation have different sunrise speeds when they should be equal, as they are both on the same supposed globe planet rotating at the same rate on both solstices. Right. That's another point I wanted to make, is that the what I could find out from trying to measure the sunrise speeds is every time the Tropic of Capricorn was slower. No matter what I did, the Tropic of Capricorn was always slower. Now, technically, that should be faster because the Tropic of Capricorn is supposed to be slightly wider, just slightly, than the Tropic of Cancer. Just slightly, because the globe is supposed to be, if you're on a globe, I'm saying, because the globe, going by the globe rhetoric, the globe says that that it's an oblate spheroid. So that would mean that the Tropic of Capricorn should be bigger and faster. Should be bigger and it should be a faster sunrise speed than the Tropic of Cancer. But it wasn't. The Tropic of Capricorn consistently had a problem, and as I said at the end, I'll show at the end what that was all about. Okay. The third question is the surface speed of the globe is not the issue. It's the different surface speed at different latitudes won't change the speed of the sun's light. Just because the globe would rotate slower at 23.5 degrees north or south does not mean that the sun's light will be slower. The Earth at that latitude will still have to rotate a full 360 degrees in 24 hours. I mean, the point I'm making there is the question Phil Bell was asking was about the surface speed. He was talking about the surface speed of the globe. And he was trying to explain something using that. But my argument against what he was trying to do was basically that the speed of the light, of the sun's light, is really what matters. Because that's what a sunrise is when the light gets to you. That was basically my point with that. So he was asking me about, he was basically saying, kind of trying to critique something, talking about the rotation of the globe. But it doesn't matter. The thing he was trying to critique didn't matter because it's about the speed of the light it reaches you. Not about the rotation of the globe, because there was just inconsistencies there, and he was trying to explain them with the rotation of a globe, and he was talking more about the solid Earth and the rotation of that rather than the speed of the light of the sun or whatever, or the sun's light, basically. I know that's a bit jumbled up, but it's kind of more just for just to respond to him. Number 4 is 4 questions about towns D, E, and F, which would be around the Tropic of Capricorn. I during my presentation explained why the sunrise speed might be at that rate. I calculated on the Tropic of Capricorn due to the solar analemma on the flat Earth and the sun's position in the sky at that very time of year. Well, basically, towns D, E, and F was like they were on the Tropic of Capricorn, and he was talking about them, and he was talking about how trying to explain really how I was getting the calculations I was getting the different things, but the point I was making concerning the solar analemma on the flat Earth, this is all kind of funny because, as I said, the part at the end makes the whole thing obsolete, but I'll go through it anyway. It might be for the surprise of the part at the end. On the flat Earth on the original solar analemma. Now, I can't prove that that's 100% correct, but that is what the observations of the sun in the old world, that's the observations they took. The sun is at its lowest point in the sky going over the Tropic of Capricorn at around this time of year. The end of December into the start of January, for a few weeks at its lowest point in the sky. It's moving at its fastest, and it's moving its biggest circle around the Earth. Okay. My point is that the reasons for a slower sunrise speed on the Tropic of Capricorn, why it was showing up was because of the angle of the light, the fact that the sun was lower to the Earth and the sun was moving fast, but it was low and moving a big circle. That was what my point was about the Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, and why the flat Earth analemma, solar analemma, would explain it, whereas the globe Earth rhetoric would not explain it. Why there was a slower sunrise speed on the Tropic of Capricorn made no sense for the globe. And I was given I could explain it with the flat Earth analemma, but I couldn't explain it with the globe. It just didn't explain how there was a slower sunrise speed consistently on the Tropic of Capricorn. Didn't explain that. There should have been a faster sunrise speed, if anything, if it was a globe, considering it's an oblate spheroid. but there wasn't. There was always a slower one, and I'll tell you why at the very end. I know now why it all was the way it was. So the fifth question: the sun does actually speed up and slow down during the year across the sky. It's just explained to us that it's due to the Earth moving around the sun, but it's only the sun that can be witnessed moving. Hence, the original analemma observations were of the sun moving and not the Earth, as the globe's analemma is an Earth analemma and not a solar analemma, as it is incorrectly called. Yeah, my point there was he was talking about he didn't. Phil Bell doesn't know anything about the original solar analemma, because everyone on the ball side, on the globe side, and everyone really is taught by education that the solar analemma is Kepler's analemma, and that involves the Earth rotation of the globe of 24,940 miles in circumference at a 23.5 degree tilt. A rotation of that once a day over a 24-hour period, and that Earth going around the sun once a year in an offset elliptical orbit. Right? It's all based around that, and it's been called the solar analemma because the original analemma was based on what the sun was doing and not what the Earth was doing. Back in the old times, back in the Mayan times and the old Chinese, the Celts, and all the older civilizations, they all studied what the sun was doing and not what the Earth was doing, because the Earth isn't doing anything. But in the globe Earth belief, and when what Kepler did basically to create the belief that there is today that the Earth is doing all this, is Kepler took the Copernican model, which was basically that we moved around the sun with the sun at the center, as opposed to geocentrism, where it puts us at the center and everything moving around us. He took the Copernican model, which was basically us and everything else moving around the sun, with the sun being the focal point. And he had to amalgamate that with the original solar analemma, which he did. And he knew what the original solar analemma was because he was an astrologer and he had learned it. He knew what the original solar analemma was. And he took the original solar analemma. This is what Johannes Kepler did. He took the original solar analemma and he amalgamated it with the Copernican model. And he had to, that's why you have a 23.5 degree tilt. That's why you have an offset elliptical orbit of the sun, because those things had to be in place for everything to work as what we see. Because what we see during the year with the sun is we see the sun in the northern part of the world. We see the sun high in the sky, and we have long days in the summer and short nights. And as it goes towards our winter, the northern winter, what happens is the sun starts to drop in the sky. It seems to move further away from you, and the days get shorter and the nights get longer. Okay, in the southern hemisphere, there isn't the same extreme there isn't the same extreme change in the day and night. Okay, and there isn't the same people in the southern hemisphere. I mean, past, like let's just say past Australia, Tasmania, and South Africa, there's only really the southern end of South America that lives anywhere further than that, and it's only the very southern end of South America, and there's no one living past the 68 degree south. Nobody living past the 68 degrees south. Yet there's people living in the north who are living up to 70 degrees north, and even Inuits then living in the Arctic itself. So you have Inuit tribes living in the Arctic itself. So there's massive differences between the north and the south. If you're talking about a globe and Kepler's analemma, there's too many differences there. There's so many differences there that when you're talking about the way Kepler done it, is that he had no choice but to, because of what we see the sun doing every year, he had no choice but to amalgamate the original solar analemma into the Copernican model, and the Copernican model into the solar analemma. So he had to give a 23.5 degree tilt. He had to give an offset elliptical orbit, because these things about these offset elliptical orbits, where else do you ever see these things? You don't. They're supposed to be how something orbits something, but you don't see it. You only see it with the Earth. You don't see it outside of that. I've heard claims that this is how the orbits of stars work. But you never see any of this. We only see it's only supposed to happen to us. You know, we're told it happens all the time, but we can't even. The one we're supposed to be doing can't even be proven. So that's the problem with it. But he had no choice but to do that, Because if he did anything else, and the sun was somewhere was observed somewhere in the sky, where it shouldn't be, in accordance with the globe, let's say in accordance with the globe's analemma, or with the Copernican model, if he didn't amalgamate the original solar analemma into that, then there was no way that he could have made it work. So you had to amalgamate the two in. So what Phil Bell doesn't understand is that, because he doesn't know anything about the original solar analemma, is that in the original solar analemma, the sun rises and lowers in the sky during the year. It takes a tighter circle in the northern summer, and its tightest circle and highest circle and slowest circle. And when it reaches the southern summer, which would be December, January, is at its lowest point in the sky, and it's making its biggest circle and fastest circle. Okay, so what he doesn't realize is that what Kepler did with his Earth analemma is yet to obviously make those things work. So when they say in the globe belief of the analemma, of Kepler's analemma, that we're moving faster past the sun around this time of year, and slower around the sun, past the sun in July. Whereas our fastest moving around the sun kind of now, or just maybe a week or so ago, and we're going to be moving the supposed slowest past the sun in July, end of June, start of July. But if you just reverse that to the sun doing it and not us, that's my point. That was what my point was, that Phil Bell doesn't understand. In the flat Earth original analemma, it's the sun that's changing speeds, not the Earth. The Earth is staying stationary, and the Earth is flat and stationary, and it's the sun that's changing the speeds, changing its position in the sky and changing its speeds. And so Phil Bell couldn't understand how the sun is supposed to be slowing down and speeding up. But yes, it's all in his own rhetoric, in the globe rhetoric. It's all in there. It's just claimed to be us doing it as on a globe, and not around the sun, as opposed to the sun doing it around us. So as opposed to the sun moving faster or slower throughout the year, it's us that's moving faster or slower. So it's like everything with the globe and flat Earth is like, it's a complete opposite. Whatever is in the globe, the complete opposite of that will be flat Earth, and vice versa. So it's the complete opposite. It's not us doing all this stuff. It's the sun doing all this stuff. That's what he doesn't understand. He never knew. He obviously didn't know about the original analemma. Most people wouldn't have known about it, especially if they were involved in, let's just say, learning about the globe. The solar analemma would always just been called what Kepler did. But really, that's an Earth analemma. So that's basically what the point. I know I kind of long-winded on this point, but that's basically the point I was trying to make, is that whatever you're told that we're supposed to be doing via, let's say, Kepler's analemma, what we're supposed to be doing around the sun, if you reverse that and put us stationary, right, and make the sun moving, then the sun is doing it, and the sun is the one that's changing its positions and changing its speeds throughout the year. Okay, so that's something that Phil Bell probably wouldn't have been aware of. I won't call him stupid or anything for saying that, because he couldn't have known. He wouldn't have even thought to look for it. The only solar analemma he knows about is Kepler's analemma. But he doesn't realise it's called the solar analemma because the original solar analemma was called the solar analemma. But a more correct term for Kepler's analemma is an Earth analemma, because the sun is technically not doing that. It's supposedly us that's doing everything on the Earth as a globe, right? That's the basics of it. Okay, so what's the next one? Yeah, this is kind of along the same lines. I'm after covering this kind of here. Number 6. This is the same thing about what. Basically, this is the same thing where Phil Bell was having kind of an issue about what the solar analemma was. Like, to him, obviously, the solar analemma, as I said, is the Copernican, is Kepler's amalgamation of the Copernican model and the original analemma. So he only knows the solar analemma as what the Earth is doing around the sun. So there's no point in answering number 6, because I've already, after going through it, long-winded enough with question number 5. Okay, question about the sun and its dividing line. I understand first, this is kind of along the same lines, but he's asking, what Phil Bell is asking here about is how the sun on a flat Earth can leave where we are and us not still be able to see it. Well, this all comes back to, basically, this comes back to a belief of the speed of light, basically. Because the speed of light, what a lot of people don't realise, is the speed of light, the first step they took to gaining what they call the speed of light, which is 671 million miles per hour. That's what the speed of light is. 671 million miles per hour. That's what they say the speed of light is through a vacuum. Now, what Phil Bell, part of what he didn't understand is that he was thinking, like, how could the sun leave where, let's say, leave where it is today, let's say over where I am in Ireland, and go to a different place and me not be still able to see it? Because he's coming from the pre-assumption that the light comes in the globe model, comes from 93 million miles away, from a huge star. And it comes from this massive star 93 million miles away and reaches us. So there is no way, and the only way to not see that light is for it to be on the globe that's turning away from it. So for light to happen on the globe, it keeps turning and you turn away from the light. That's basically what happens. So you go into the dark side, you go away with, so the opposite side of the world is in daytime and you're in nighttime. And then when you're back to daytime, they're in nighttime. That's as everyone would have grown up learning. But see, Phil Bell he can't understand how we can't see the sun and the sun's light after a certain point on a flat Earth. He can't understand how that's possible. And it comes back to the original solar analemma and the fact that the sun is not a big, huge thing 93 million miles away. It is a big thing. How big it is, I can't say, I don't know. I can speculate, but that's all I can do. It's only pseudoscience, is all I can come up with. I can't say, I can't measure it. And what, concerning the light then, he's also pre-assuming, like, because he's, in his mind, the light from the sun is reaching us from 93 million miles away. And this whole speed of light issue started with a pre-assumption. This is where the speed of light thing started. The speed of light started with this pre-assumption that Kepler's analemma was correct, that we were on a globe, right? That we were the ones rotating at a 23.5 degree tilt once a day, and we were the ones making an offset elliptical orbit of the sun. And they calculated that we had to be moving, let's just say, I think it's like 6,700 or something miles per hour at this time of year past the sun, and we're moving at 6,200 miles per hour, or was it, or a couple of thousand miles? I'm not sure, but basically there's two different. I can't remember the exact numbers. I had them before, but I can't remember them now. But basically, there's two separate speeds that we're supposed to be going past the sun at.
Yeah, I just want to step in there, Brian, and just say, look, if you're not sure about something, don't quote something, because if you make something up or you think you've got it right and you're not sure, then you know the Globers are just going to descend on you for that particular mistake. They'll forget the rest. Then they'll literally just ignore the rest of your presentation. So, you know, just to be sure, you know, if you're not too sure, just sort of like just say, look, there is a figure, but I don't know what it is, and then.
I know, yeah, but the figure, I just can't remember the figure. But it won't matter because what I make, it won't affect the point I'm making anyway. You can just Google the figure. The figures are there. There's a basic speed to give you that we're supposed to be going around the sun, and but then there's a more precise speed for at this time of year and at July. You know, whereas this is at the fastest we're going past the sun supposedly, and in July we're going past the sun at our slowest time. That's basically it. But the actual numbers don't matter too much. But I appreciate what you're saying, Randy. I understand what you mean. The people will just jump on the thing that I can't remember, or jump on something stupid. But basically, the speed light was based on this being true. Now, it was never proven to be true. None of this was ever proven to be true. It was all just theoretical, right? It was all just theoretical, and it could change at any minute. But then it went from being an idea and a theoretical thing to becoming what we're told as fact. But none of this was proven to be true. So consequently, we have a situation where we're told the speed of light is 671 million miles per hour, and they know this because they know the speed of light through a vacuum. But how did they know the speed of light through a vacuum? How did they test this? They didn't. They pre-assumed that the sky is a vacuum, and they pre-assumed that the light is coming from the sun to us from 93 million miles away. and they pre-assumed that the sun, that we could see the sun in this part of the sky at this time, and at that part of the sky at that time, and that basically working off a lot of things like that, they came up. That was the starting point of the speed of light, right? That's where it comes from. So the point I'm making with all that is that Phil Bell can't understand how light can maybe only go so far. He can't understand how the sun can move away from us and us not still be able to see the sun on a flat Earth. He expects that we'll be able to see it forever, no matter where it goes. He can't get that. He can't understand how that's possible. How the light is not reaching us all the time. And that's basically it. That's basically the point I'm making, because he believes that light moves at a speed of 671 million miles per hour, and it's able to go from the sun to us through a vacuum of a distance of 93 million miles. So he can't understand how a more small or local sun, can move away from us and take the light with it. He can't understand how that can happen. But so for him, he can't seem to understand night and day on a flat Earth. He can't understand how that can happen. And I can understand, it's a fair question. He's kind of thinking, well, if the place is flat, how come this thing can move away from you, this big light can move away from you, and you can't just keep seeing it? But he has to understand, it's not as huge in the sky, and it doesn't, and the distance light will from it will travel is not going to be in line with what he believes in the first place. He has to, for to understand what's happening with the flat Earth, he has to like have a blank slate when it comes to things like that. When it comes to, let's say, Kepler's analemma, and it comes to the speed of light and things like that, he has to have a blank slate there and just start fresh and stop thinking about, if he wants to actually understand it, he has to stop thinking about it in a globe way. He has to understand that the sun will move away from us, and the sun, when it moves away from us, we won't always be able to see it. It will get to a point where it goes past the point of us being able to see it. You know, I said that in my last presentation, that we just can't follow the sun. We won't be able to follow it, even if with the best optics we have, we can't follow it. You couldn't follow it with a supersonic jet. Do you know what I mean? You just can't follow the thing. The thing is just too elusive. It moves at such a speed in such a weird way. You wouldn't be able to follow it. And it goes around in a big circle. You can't follow the thing. So that's the problem we have. You know what I mean? We can't follow it. Phil Bell couldn't understand how you can have a night and day, how people, once the sun moves away from me here, how I still can't see the sun when it's off over in, wherever, in Asia, or something like that. He can't understand how the place is so huge, and the sun, in comparison to it, is actually very small. It's very big to us, but it's very small in comparison to the Earth. It's the small thing, and the Earth is the big thing. And that's kind of what I'm saying. But it's the pre-assumption about the whole speed of light, and that light being able to reach us from 93 million miles away is what he believes, because he believes that the sky is a vacuum, and he believes in the speed of light. But the speed of light was based on a pre-assumption. It started with the pre-assumption that Kepler's analemma was correct, but it was never proven. But that's where the speed of light comes from. And then there's the pre-assumption that we have this vacuum. So people can't understand how the sun can move away from us and we can't keep following it. They can't understand it because in their own head they have it ingrained that the sun is this huge big light that you could never miss, and it's coming from 93 million miles away. So that's kind of the point I'm trying to make with it. Okay, as well as that, the solar analemma on the flat Earth makes, just for Phil Bell's, just for his own knowledge, basically, the solar analemma on the flat Earth, it gives a much better, much better description of why the Arctic and the Antarctic do what they do and are what they are. Because technically on the globe, the two of those should be the same. Right? Technically, the Arctic and Antarctic should be the same on the globe. There should be no difference, as it's a mirror image of each other. Technically, if anything, the Antarctic should be smaller than the Arctic, because at this time of year, we're supposed to be closer to the sun, if anything. And in the northern summer, we're supposed to be further from the sun. So technically, the Antarctic should be smaller than the Arctic, but it's the opposite way around. So it's like everything on the globe is the opposite from the flat Earth, and everything on the flat Earth is the complete opposite from the globe. But the flat Earth solar analemma, right, as I said, I can't prove it's 100% correct, but it does explain why the Arctic is what it is and and does what it does throughout the year, and it also explains why the Antarctic is what it is and does what it does throughout the year. Okay, what's the next? On to number 8. Let me see, what was this one? This doesn't matter too much because this is the only concern again. Yeah. This one doesn't matter too much because at the end this is one of those ones that this is one of the ones at the end is going to be obsolete anyway. It's just concerning the data I had collected for the sunrise speeds and that, but as I said, at the end that's going to become obsolete because it won't matter, because it doesn't mix in with. He was asking how can that mix in with the solar analemma. But it won't, that one doesn't matter. There's not really much to answer there. He also asked about elevation, and in my last presentation on this, I covered the elevation issue, that elevation didn't matter. That no matter what elevation something was at, it didn't change. The end product ended up being the same each time, no matter what way I twist or turn it. The Tropic of Capricorn will have a slower sunrise speed than the equator or the Tropic of Cancer. And as I said at the end, that will be explained why that is. Now, he also asked about the 24-hour Antarctic sun. Right? Now, the 24-hour Antarctic sun, this claim is well known. But now, I personally have not seen enough video and data evidence to support that this is a reality. And that's a fact. The main Amundsen Scott American military base has not provided the world with a full uncut video of the time-lapse 24-hour sun. Others have been produced, but the people who should be providing us with this evidence have not done so. So I personally would find that not credible. Now, basically, what I'm going to say to him about this is there is no evidence to support a 24-hour Arctic sun. The only thing to support, this is not evidence. The only thing that supports a 24-hour Arctic sun is the belief that we're on a globe. That's the only thing that supports it, is a belief, and a belief is not evidence. Nathan Oakley has on his channel has an interview with a guy who spent 2 different summers in Antarctica. He done it in 2015, I think it was 2016, and this guy said there is no 24-hour sun in Antarctica at this time of year. There is no 24-hour sun. And Nathan Thompson knows someone at the moment. Now, I can't verify this, but Nathan Thompson was posting posts from someone he knows that's in Antarctica at the moment through the Antarctic summer, and there is no 24-hour sun. So the only videos we get of a 24-hour sun are coming from independent video that's either like made off a phone or some other silly way, and they keep getting debunked. Like, there's that been about 4 or 5 out there. I know of that, maybe 4, maybe 5. Let's say 4. I'm not sure if there's 5, but there's 4 I know of, I think. And at least 3 of them have been debunked. And there's one there, the last one I saw, and that could be debunked and all at this stage. I don't bother with it. But none of them, like, if it's real, why would you have to make it up? If it's a real thing, then why would anyone have to put together a false video and call it the 24-hour sun? One of them claimed to be in Antarctica, and it was shown that they were actually in the Arctic. Do you know what I mean? It was proven they were in the Arctic. They were somewhere up in northern Greenland or something like that. So, like, that kind of thing, it's like, if it's real, then there shouldn't be any need to fake it. You know, if it's real, it shouldn't need to be faked. That's about the size of it. And if it's real, the Amundsen Scott American base that's supposedly at 90 degrees south should be able to provide us with that. And it shouldn't be a case of oh, that's a big deal. Why is it a big deal? We're supposed to have a 24-hour Antarctic sun, so you should be able to provide us with a video of this 24-hour Antarctic sun. But they're not doing it. Each one of their videos, their videos that they put out I think it's missing something like 10 or 12 hours a day, something like that. There's a jump where it goes from the shadow is off over to the right, I think, and then it jumps to the left or vice versa, whichever. It's like, that shouldn't be the case. Why can't the people who are supposedly at 90 degrees south, why can't they give us this video? When they were questioned about it, one of the people that questioned them was Jeranism. It was a good few years ago, back in probably late 2015, early 2016, and someone else questioned them, and their answers were, first of all, they didn't have enough bandwidth, and then they didn't have enough hard drive. It was like two different answers from to two different people. It was like nonsense. It's like, if the 24-hour sun is real, then how come people have to fake it? And how come the people that should be able to show it to us aren't able to show it to us and give us rubbish excuses like we don't have enough hard drive space? I mean, you're the American government. You can't come up with hard drive space enough for that. Are you joking me? You know what I mean?
Brian, just one thing. Before we carry on, just any more. We've got Professor Phil Bell, who's ranting and raving in the chat, and he thinks that you're wrong on a lot of your things. It's typical globe stuff. We know this. However, in the future, would you go into a fight night with him? Under the 5-minute rule, or maybe extend it to a 7-minute rule. Where you and him can actually debate it, because he's saying that he's going to do a video, and I just feel that these back and forths aren't really helping. We need to actually just get you two head to head, and let's just get this sorted out. Are you up for that?
Yeah, no bothers. Like, I know if he wants to do that at some point, no bothers. Yeah, I'm totally on for that.
Go on then. I'll tell you what. Give it a minute or so, and just tell him right now that you want him to come on.
Well, if he wants to do that, I mean, I'll leave it up to himself. He doesn't have to do it. If he doesn't want to do it, he doesn't have to do it. But if he thinks I'm wrong and he wants to kind of go against it, if he wants to even make a rebuttal presentation, he can. But all I'd say to him is, before he goes any further, is to wait for what I'm going to show at the end, because that might make it pointless. That's all I'm saying. But if he wants to have a one-on-one debate with me on the channel, yeah, absolutely, I'll deal with no bothers. So I leave it up to himself, because it's all the same to me. I'm not too bothered whether it happens or not. You're not going to wait. But it's like, I understand there's certain things he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand about flat Earth. I get that. It's hard to take in. If you spent your whole life learning about the globe, and everything is about the globe, suddenly you're told everything is completely opposite. It's going to be hard to take in.
So what you say is you've got a silver bullet at the end of this presentation ready to shoot down him before it even gets to that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, rather than shoot down him, it's kind of like, rather than personally to shoot down Phil Bell, it's more of a case of what I'll show at the end will kind of make the whole thing kind of obsolete. It won't matter. The argument won't matter as much, if you understand what I mean. Now, he can still welcome to come along, and I'd absolutely do the thing with him, the debate, the fight night. Yeah, that's no bother. We can do that anyway. But tell him to wait till the very end and see what he thinks of it at the end. And if he still wants to do something like that, then tell him to contact you, and I'll have that debate with him. No bothers.
Okay.
No hassle at all.
So I'm gonna go on mute, and I'll let you carry on. All right, bud.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, okay. But anyway, just to finish on this point about the 24-hour Antarctic sun, there just isn't enough credible evidence from the people who should be giving us the evidence to support it. Now, I have yet to be able to find evidence to support that the Amundsen Scott station is even at 90 degrees south, because there was some evidence. There was some evidence. I don't know if you could call it evidence, isn't it? Maybe not. But there's some stuff there to suggest that light doesn't even go past the 88 degrees south. Yet they were in December and January, even around the southern summer, the light doesn't even reach the 88 past the 88th degree. So that's a bit tricky, because how can they prove that they are at the American Amundsen Scott station is at 90 degrees south? How can they prove that? Who can verify that? I can't verify that. I don't know. But there is some stuff to suggest that is not the case. That is not true. So I actually kind of starting to find it hard to believe they are at 90 degrees south in a lot of ways. I'll show you in a minute something that will help to give it, not help, but it will give people more of an insight as to why I'm thinking that. Okay. But I don't believe there is a 24-hour Antarctic sun, basically because there just isn't enough evidence to support it. That's it. When there is enough evidence to support it, I'll accept it. I'm not going to be someone who won't accept the reality of things. If it's real, it's real. But if it was real, then there wouldn't be a need for fakes, and those who should be able to give it to us, the American government, who are phenomenally wealthy, should be able to come up with a few hard drives. Do you know what I mean? And bandwidth. They can do it, you know. I mean, what about all these satellites they supposedly have? tell me they can't give us a 24-hour. They have no way around that. It's like an impossibility. Give us a break. Anyway, that's more about the 24-hour sun. So this is about why can't people closer to the dividing line see the sun? Well, they can in the northern part of part of the world. I'm going to show this photo down below. This is for Phil Bell. If you're listening in the chat, Phil, watch this part, right? And pay attention to this and look at this afterwards and look at this photo. Now, it's not the scale. It's not my photo. It's just a thing put together by somebody else from some years ago. But it just shows a visual of the flat Earth analemma. It's not the scale. It's just showing what it is, okay? Now, where are we? Here we go, right? On the 21st of June, the sun is at its highest point in the sky, and it's making its tightest circle, okay, around the Earth. And it's moving at its slowest rate. So it's moving at its slowest, it's at its highest, and it's making its smallest circle. So that's why we have a 24-hour sun in the Arctic at that time of year. That's why we have so much sun for a couple of months in the Arctic at that time of year. As it goes away from June into July and August, okay, and then into September, what's happening is the sun is making bigger circles, right? It's dropping in its height in the sky, and it's moving a bit faster, right down to the equinox in September. And then past the equinox, it continues to go faster and make bigger circles and drop in the sky until it reaches the 21st of December. So on the 21st of December, it's at its lowest point in the sky. It's making its biggest circle of the Earth, and it's moving at its fastest. Now, at this time of year, this is for Phil Bell in particular. At this time of year, we're supposed to be moving past the sun at our fastest rate due to supposedly being pulled past the sun. We're supposed to be going past this. We're closest to the sun, and we're supposed to be being pulled past the sun at our fastest rate. Now, when the sun is closest, if you imagine the opposite of that, the opposite of us being pulled past the sun and being closest to the sun is that the sun is actually closer to the Earth itself, and it's moving faster around us. And this is it here, and this is the original solar analemma. Okay, so right now at this time of year, we're only a few weeks gone past the 21st of December. At this time of year, instead of thinking of it as the Earth is the one going past the sun at its fastest, and the sun is and we're at our closest, it's that the sun is at its lowest in the sky, so it's closer to the actual Earth, physical Earth itself, okay, and it's moving at its fastest around us, right? And then in June, it's at its highest in the sky, which would be around the time that, according to Kepler's analemma, that we're actually furthest from the sun, right? And it's moving at its slowest in the sky, slowest circle and smallest circle in the sky. So that explains Kepler's analemma. But Kepler's analemma puts us 4,800,000 kilometers further from the sun at this time of year, and 4,800,000 kilometers closer to the sun at this time of year. Whereas in the original solar analemma, it was the sun itself that got closer by coming down lower and further by going up higher. It's gone up higher in June, right? The reason for it being higher in June is because it's making a smaller, tighter and slower circle. So if it was down low here in June and it was doing that, we would be fried, especially the Arctic. The Arctic would be destroyed, okay? Now, if it were, you couldn't have that, but right, if there's going to be a 24-hour sun in the Arctic would be destroyed if the sun was down low, right? That would destroy the Arctic. The Arctic needs to melt, but it needs to be able to rejuvenate itself. But if that sun was down low here at that time of year, then the Arctic would never, once that happening, that would destroy the Arctic, it would never recover, okay? Now, the sun being low in the sky here and moving fast does melt around the Arctic water, the Antarctic waters around here, right, during the southern summer, okay? But it's only at 23.5 degrees from the equator, so it's not too close to it. And it's low in the sky and moving fast. So it does melt the outer oceans of the Antarctic. It will melt the ice flows there and that a bit, and will melt the Antarctic up to a point, but it won't have any major impact on it. From the summer to the winter in the Antarctic, there is less of a change than there is from summer to winter in the Arctic. Okay, and the original solar analemma here, for Phil, this is for you, Phil, if you're listening, the original solar analemma here explains that so much better than Kepler's analemma, which would make the Antarctic the one that's melted most, and the Arctic the one that has the least amount of melting. You know, because Kepler's analemma has to put us furthest from the sun in the northern summer, and closest to the sun in our southern summer. And it's all based on, what it's got to do with what they say is the angle of the rays. You know, but yet if you look online and you ask Google what would happen if we were, let's just say, a mile closer to the sun, you know, or questions like that, like stuff will come up to say, we'd be dead. Do you know what I mean? But yet we can be 4,800,000 kilometers further from the sun and 4,800,000 kilometers closer to the sun at two different times a year in accordance with Kepler's analemma. Do you understand where the problem lies there? This is a problem because it doesn't make any logical sense. The flat Earth analemma has us not moving. We're on a flat plane, stationary, not moving, and it's the sun that's doing this stuff. What we see. When you see a sunrise, you see the sun coming to you. You don't go to the sun. The sun is coming to you. It goes over you at noon, and then off away from you at sunset. That's what the sun does. The sun is the one moving, not us. And that's what the original solar analemma was based on. Okay, so think about that. Have a look at this and think about it. Think about the Arctic. Think about the Antarctic. Think about the seasons. How this explains all the seasons. All the seasons are explained by this. Okay, these are all. This is the northern summer. This is the southern summer. Okay, this is the equinoxes, which would be autumn time. This is autumn time in the north, and this is autumn time in the south. You know, this is how it works. This is when they're going into autumn in the south in March, and in September is when we're going into autumn in the north. You know, that's all it is. This explains it so much better. You know, than us being on this globe that's, you know, close to 5 million miles away from the sun, you know, further and closer by 5 million miles, you know, another time of year. You know, there's no need for all that nonsense. So have a think about that before you go jumping and saying it's not real, it can't be, it's wrong. Think about it. Think about this logically. You know, this makes way more logical sense. It's so much more natural and so much more logical. You know, way more. Okay, so have a think about that before you decide to put it down or before you decide to demonize it. Think about it. Okay, use logic and think about it. Okay, I'm just going to show here. Sorry, see if I have get this thing up here. Hopefully it'll go up. Right, there we go. This is a map, obviously, right? And maps are only maps. That's all they are. Now, this is the Gleason's map, which is based on a flat world, right? It's based on flat Earth, right? Gleason was a flat earther. This, I can't say this is the exact map of the world, right? For a start, Gleason has the latitude and longitude grid laid out based on a globe, not based on flat Earth. So his latitude and longitude is based on a globe, whereas I showed in one of my previous presentations that if you use the latitude and longitude grid and base it on flat Earth and count everything from the centre out the way, I showed how it was more based on flat Earth and turned onto it and then wrapped around the globe. Now, the latitude and longitude grid is that's all it is. It's an imaginary grid. It's only pseudoscience. It's not really there. Okay, I can't guarantee that this is what the Earth actually looks like. Okay, that all the continents and everything are exactly as they show. I can't guarantee that. But this is some kind of a map of the world that has been used and is used up to today. You know, people use this. You know, so it is a real map made by someone who was a real cartographer. Okay, so the point I'm making here is this was made back. I can't remember the date. Where is the date? 1892. So it was back in the late 1800s. I think it was back in the late 1850 something. Is it? I can't read that right, but it's back in the 1800s anyway. This was made. Now the reason I'm showing you this is to here, Phil. What I'd like for you to do, would be to go and look at this map and look at these two boxes here. One is for the June solstice, which is here, and one is for the December solstice, which is here. You can see by the June solstice here that the light of the sun covers a bigger area than it does in the December solstice. Okay, in the June solstice, it shows how there is a 24-hour sun in the Arctic and how there can be one, right? The sun is at its highest point in the sky, right? And it's moving over the Tropic of Capricorn, or Tropic of Cancer, right? And it's showing, because it's higher, it's giving more light is able to be spread out. If you take a flashlight, right, and you shine it away from a wall, right, it'll cover a lot more of the wall. The closer you bring it to that wall, the smaller the light will cover, okay? Now, this is what this is showing, right? That in the June solstice, that the sun was highest in the sky and covered the biggest area of the Earth, right? And this shows how you can how the Arctic 24-hour sun is possible, or it happens, as I say, right? Then you go to December solstice, where in the original solar flat Earth analemma, the sun is closer to the Earth, okay? So it's just like a flashlight is going to be. Its area of light is going to be less the closer it gets to a wall. The same happens with the sun. The closer it gets to the Earth, it's showing it's going to spread around less than it would if it was higher. It's more concentrated. Now, this is showing how how the Arctic here is in total darkness. It was going to be in total darkness for that length of time, while the sun is going around the Tropic of Capricorn at around this time of year. But also says down here, Phil, is that the light of the sun doesn't, on the 21st of December, which would be the longest day in the southern summer, does not go past the 80th parallel. So that's why I say that the Amundsen Scott station is very likely not at 90 degrees south, because the 90 degrees south would be black darkness. And there is evidence of some kind that supposedly, now I don't know if this is true or not, but supposedly there is evidence, stories about Admiral Byrd's having planes crashing into something of some kind, right, in Antarctica. And he was losing planes because the planes kept on crashing. What I believe was happening, right, I'm not saying that was the start of the dome, right? I'm not saying that. Now, maybe it is, right? Maybe it is the start of the dome, right? If there is a dome, right? But I'm not saying that was the start of the dome. What I'm saying is that the planes were flying into darkness when they went past the 80th degree parallel south. So when they're flying into darkness, they're flying into uncharted territory. It was land they didn't have mapped out. They didn't know where Anton was. They didn't know where there might be a mountain of ice. There could be anything there. And they were losing planes for that reason, I believe. I believe they were losing planes because the planes were crashing, because when they went past the 80th parallel south, they were crashing because they couldn't see what they were doing. They were either crashing into something like maybe a barrier, let's just say, if you want to call it the end of the dome, right? Or they were crashing into ice and mountains, that were there that they didn't know, they hadn't mapped out. They never saw them, and they can't see them because they don't have the light, because the light never shines there. So on top of that, as well as that, and Anthony Riley showed it there some while back in a book, it says that there is a dome at the 82nd degree parallel, I think it is south, at 13,000 feet. So let's just say there is a barrier that starts at that place. I don't know, right? I can't prove that is where a barrier starts, right? I can't prove that. But let's just say there is something there. Then wouldn't it make sense that they were losing planes when they went past the 88th degree parallel? Because there wasn't light past the 88th degree parallel. And then they were crashing into something they weren't expecting to be there. And they didn't know what was there in the first place. So, according to this, there can't be a 24-hour Antarctic sun. It's not possible. Because the sun moves around the Tropic of Capricorn and it doesn't get past the 88th degree. So how can there be a 90 degree Amundsen Scott station, a 90 degree south Amundsen Scott station, American base, getting a 24-hour? This is why they don't get a 20. There's one like, how can they get a 24-hour Antarctic sun? How can they do that? They can't. They can't do it. If there's no light past the 80th parallel, how can they do that? It's nonsense. I don't believe, this is what I'm saying, as I was saying earlier, this is why I don't believe that past the 80th parallel that there is light. I think it's very possible there is no light past the 80th parallel south. Now, whether there's a starting of a dome there or not, I don't know. Right, that's a separate issue. Now, just so people know, from an engineering point of view, a dome is the strongest ceiling you can have. It's the hardest thing to build from an engineering point of view, but it's also the strongest structure you can build as a ceiling, because it actually also, every part of it supports every other part of it. I don't know all the mechanics of it, but I saw it some years ago on Discovery Channel. This is before I was ever into Flat Earth, and we were talking about this. There's a guy, I think a Greek guy, who builds them for people around different. He's a subcontractor around the world, and he was talking about the specifics of that shape, how the dome shape is an extremely strong shape, how it all supports each other, and it's the hardest thing to build. But once it's built, it's the strongest, most supportive ceiling you can have. Okay, so that's just, now, I'm not claiming a dome, I'm not claiming that, I don't know, right? I know there has to be a barrier because we have gas pressure, right? But I'm not claiming a dome. But there's just some food for thought. Okay, so on to Joe, that's the end of Phil Bell's responses. So on to Joe Kovacs. So I'm not going to take too long here, because I don't want to take all night here. This is an average speed, right, over the Tropic of Cancer, right, using 6 locations, okay, of sunrise speed, an average speed of 1,061.4 miles per hour, right. That's my average speed. It's all there for anyone, if Joe wants to have a look at it, right. 1,061.4 miles per hour for these 6 locations over the Tropic of Cancer, okay. This is a solar noon for all these places, and this is whether they do or don't have daylight savings time. Now, none of them do have daylight savings time, okay? So I'll move on to the next one. This is for the equinoxes, which are exactly the same, and this would be at the equator. The average speed over 6 locations is 1,003.44 miles per hour. So it's less than the Tropic of Cancer, okay? So the equator is less than the Tropic of Cancer sunrise speed. And everything, all the solar noons for all these places are here. All the details are up here. Okay, and anyone is welcome to look at them and critique them if they want. And whether they have daylight savings time or not is here, and none of those places do. So for the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of and the equator, none of the locations have daylight savings time. So that's not a factor there. Okay, and I proved in the last one that elevation made no difference. So there's no. And all these as well, all these places as well, as I showed in the last one, the elevation didn't change anything. Didn't change because it was the light of the sun as opposed to the land that made a difference. Right, and now we're going to go on to the Tropic of Capricorn. Okay, so Tropic of Capricorn, right, without the hour added for daylight savings time, because only Ascension is the only place out of the 6 locations I use for the Tropic of Capricorn. Only Ascension is the only place that has daylight savings. Now, the average speed on the Tropic of Capricorn was 922 miles per hour, 922.2062 miles per hour. So the Tropic of Cancer is the fastest, the equator is second fastest, and the Tropic of Capricorn is the slowest, right? So that's not, no matter what way you twist or turn it, it doesn't match the globe, right? Once again, it doesn't match the globe. There are the averages over 6 places. Each place is 6 places. That's 18 different locations over the Tropic of Cancer, the equator, and the Tropic of Capricorn, right? And I took out the hour for Ascension. I took away the daylight savings hour, and the average is 922.2062 miles per hour. So once again, we have the Tropic of Capricorn acting the weirdest again. Okay, and these are the solar noons for each place. And these are the daylight savings time. Ascension went into daylight savings on the 6th of October 2019 until the 22nd of March the March equinox will come out at the March equinox 2020. So that's all the details there. If anyone wants to check it or go through it, whatever, I have no bothers there. Right. Now there's the averages compared: 1,061. Miles per hour for Tropic of Cancer. The equator is 1,003 miles per hour, slower, and the Tropic of Capricorn is 922 miles per hour. This is the Tropic of Capricorn what that means is with the daylight savings hour added. Just so you can see the difference, okay? But it just showed it's still the slowest. Tropic of Capricorn is still the slowest, okay? So basically, there's no point. I'm not kind of summarising it all about that. How Tropic of Capricorn keeps on being the slowest, no matter what way we twist or turn it. But that'll make sense at the end why that is. Joe was saying to use airports. I think CrowXE might have said that as well. About used airports. He had used some airports as opposed to random places. But airports were hard to get because, like, if I'm using Carnarvon in Western Australia, that's not going to have an international airport. Carnarvon is a small place; it's not going to have it. And there was another place it was Manakara or somewhere else that I used. There was places that just weren't going to have international airports, so it was a lot easier just to use the actual place itself as opposed to use its airport to track what the sun speed or the sunrise was going to be or whatever. So that's why I didn't use airports. So I did an east to west calculation as well, in case anyone wanted to look at that, in case they wanted to compare that, right? For the different places as well, full east to west calculations and averages for that. And this part is about the salt, the mystery part 2. This is kind of doesn't matter either, because the part at the end kind of is going to make it all obsolete. This was basically about there was a problem that the sun couldn't reach Salta in time for the sunrise that's supposed to be there, kind of thing. Basically, to give a rundown of it, there's 1,010 miles is the distance between what is it? Curitiba, I think it is, and Salta. There's 1,010 miles, but the average sunrise speed was 918 miles per hour, right? So there's a deficit of over 19 miles. That like the sunrise would have the sun's light would have been 90 miles away from where it should be, right? Right. There was also a problem with the drop issue, as there's at 1,000 there's a massive geometric drop. 1,010 miles, there's a geometric drop of 131 miles or something like that. It's crazy. That should be there as well. So there was some problems with that, but all that don't matter, because the part at the end is going to unfortunately make the whole thing obsolete. It doesn't make Joe Kovacs wrong. It doesn't make Joe Kovacs wrong, and it doesn't make me wrong. He was right in what he said. He was right in critiquing. But what I will say is that no matter what I did, the Tropic of Capricorn was always slowest. Now, as I said, the part at the end doesn't make Joe Kovacs wrong, but it just throws a spanner in the works. Okay. I'm going to go past all this. This is for anyone who wants to see it. What I'll do is I'll make a PDF and I'll send it to Randy. Anyone wants to see it, any of this, or look into it, or critique it, or whatever, if they want it. There's just more stuff connected to the whole sunrise speed thing. But unfortunately, as I said, it's debunked by this. What is UTC time? Right. This is the big problem. Right. This is the part at the end I was talking about. UTC time is what is known as mean time, or the very centre of all timekeeping in the world today. UTC time was formerly known as Greenwich Mean Time, Greenwich, London being the place that the prime meridian runs through. People will know the prime meridian as the mainstay longitude line. That is the starting point for the counting of the longitude lines in a circle, counting from west to east and east to west, around to the opposite of the meridian, or the meridian at east or west from it 180 degrees. UTC time is an abbreviation for Coordinated Universal Time, or Universal Time. And all universal time is based on the shape and rotation over a 24-hour period of a globe with an equator circumference measurement of 24,935.264 miles. Okay, so Right. Now, going by this information, it is clear to all that see that it would be impossible to get an accurate measurement of time for sunrises across the Tropic of Capricorn, the equator, or the Tropic of Cancer, as all timekeeping at Greenwich is pre-assuming we are on a globe, to the point that all timekeeping is based off that pre-assumption. So instead of keeping time by the study of the sun above us, time is being based off of the assumption that we're on a globe orbiting the sun. Now, due to this pre-assumption, all time measurements for the Tropic of Capricorn seem to have been given an arbitrary time, as in the globe model. The Tropic of Capricorn region should be slightly larger than the Tropic of Cancer region, as it's what makes the globe an oblate spheroid. Yet in all the calculations I have shown, not one of them shows sunrise speed intervals between the tropics to match this claim of an oblate spheroid. Actually, they pointed towards the northern half of the globe being bigger in area than the southern half, as the Tropic of Cancer always has a faster sunrise interval speed than the Tropic of Capricorn. Even though the Tropic of Cancer is supposedly 22,847 miles in circumference, while the Tropic of Capricorn is supposedly 22,859 miles in circumference, showing a deficit of 12 miles between them. Technically, basically, the Tropic of Capricorn should be 12 miles bigger, according to the globe rhetoric, on the globe than the Tropic of Cancer. But what I showed with the sunrise speeds is that didn't match, right? Which told me right that it's been given an arbitrary number. But I'll just continue on with this. But the situation gets worse, as a land distance measurement using air miles from Helsinki in southern Finland to Libreville in Gabon, West Africa, is 4,212 miles, whereas the radius of the globe model is only 3,959 miles. So that would mean that if no curvature or drop can be proven, then the equator line is not 24,935.264 miles in circumference. It's actually 38,998.8 miles in circumference. And the same problems lie for the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, as the true circumference of the Tropic of Cancer would be 28,215.78 miles, as opposed to 22,847 miles. And the true circumference for the Tropic of Capricorn would be 49,181.82 miles, as opposed to 22,850 miles. So taking this into account, that means that unless curvature and drop can be proven along with rotation, then this means that the sun is revolving around us, not the other way around. And all timekeeping is flawed in the truth's disfavor. Basically, what I'm saying there, I think that's the end of it there. Basically, what I'm saying there is everything you get from time and date, or sun calc, or moon, I think there's a moon calc and whatever, or any of these sites, everything you get, right, every piece of information you get is based on the pre-assumption that we are the ones that's rotating once every 24 hours on a globe with a circumference of 24,900 miles, okay, at the equator. And we're doing this offset elliptical orbit of the sun. So once a year, with us moving faster at one time a year when we're closer to it, and slowest another time a year when we're furthest from it. So everything, any information that I or anyone else would try to get about the sun, independent information, is not going to give you anything about what the sun is doing. It's giving you what we are supposedly doing around the sun. So we can't find out what the sun is doing off of the internet and off of these sites, because they're telling us what we're doing. But that they're making it seem like they're finding out what the sun is doing. But really all they're doing is telling you it's a calculation. It's a calculation to, let's say I want to find out what time the sunrise will be where I am now in Ireland. What time the sunrise will be in the morning. That's a calculation that will be calculated off of where I am on the globe, and at what point the sunrise should be happening for me at my 52 degrees north latitude position, right? At what point that sunrise should be happening for me at that particular location, right? But unfortunately, does not work out, because when I checked it myself with the sun and what it's doing above me, right, when it's rising and setting and things like that, and where it's supposed to be in the sky, it didn't match what time and date said. Or more importantly, the other way around, time and date did not match reality. Now, Nathan Oakley, in connection with some other people, he only talked about it recently, did some stuff back in 2015 or 2016 where they tested time and date, and it turned out to be wrong. It was consistently wrong. The sun was not where it was supposed to be when it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be solar noon in one place, and the sun didn't reach there for an hour or more before it was solar noon. It was like an hour or more out, often at time, loads of time. That was only at one point. It was wrong all the time. So time and date, sun calc, all these places that we would go to get information about what the sun is doing or the moon or where it's going to be, it's in our sky. It's all a reverse calculation it's all reversing the calculation back on us. We're the ones that's supposed to be doing the moving and the rotating and all the rest of it. And it's calculated on when the sunrise would happen, let's just say, for your location on a globe, let's just say, at that particular time of year. So it's not. But when tested, it doesn't match reality. When time and date is tested, or any of these are tested, they don't match reality. They're not matching reality. As I've tested it myself, they're not matching reality. And all these times we're giving, every time, all timekeeping in the world is based on the pre-assumption that we're on a globe spinning once a day, and this globe is making an offset elliptical orbit of the sun once a year, and changing its speeds, and putting the sun at different, changing its speeds and its tilt. So this is what we're told. So it's this pre-assumption. These are the pre-assumptions that everything is based upon. So you cannot find out what the sun is doing, or where the sun is, or anything else. You can't find these things out, because they're not going to tell you that. They're only going to tell you where you are, right, in accordance with a calculation involving where you would be if you were on a globe, right, and where the sun is going to, when the sun is going to shine on that part of the globe, right, based on the rotation of the globe and the position of the globe at that time of year going around the sun. So you can't find out. So all the things I put out there in those 3 presentations to do with sunrise speeds mean nothing, because they're all based around the complete opposite of what I was trying to find out. All the information I got was opposite of what I wanted to find out. I couldn't get proper information because it's reversing the narrative that I want the information for. And what was really strange is that even by doing that, this is what really told me that they're giving the Tropic of Capricorn an arbitrary number, basically, an arbitrary speed, or they're messing around with the Tropic of Capricorn region, basically because they have to, because it doesn't make any sense, right? There is no way, if we're on a globe, that the Tropic of Capricorn, going by what time and date and all these other sites are all the information they're giving you, there is no way that can have a slower sunrise speed than the Tropic of Cancer, when it's actually supposed to be slightly bigger, because the globe is supposed to be an oblate spheroid. Yet the Tropic of Cancer, right, is more often than not faster than the equator in sunrise speed, right, and it's way faster, and they're both faster, and it's way faster than the Tropic of Capricorn. So it shouldn't be that. On the globe, it should be always the equator fastest, the Tropic of Capricorn second fastest, and the Tropic of Cancer's lowest. That's the way it should be, but it didn't work out like that at all. And as well as that, as I talked about there earlier, to do with sizes of equator and the tropics and equator, the true sizes, people are constantly trying to make models, right? Now, if you want to make a model, fair enough, but a model is not reality, right? A model doesn't prove anything, but it's just a visual thing, and if you can make it, fair enough, fair dues to you. But people keep on trying to make the model. If they're trying to model a flat Earth, they keep on giving it a 24,940 whatever, or 935, whichever it is, size equator. But it's not. It's not going to be, because you can get a straight line distance from the northern geographic pole to the equator, which will give you 6,210 miles of a straight line air distance. Not nautical miles now, because nautical miles are based on a globe, but straight statuette air miles is 6,210 miles. So if you use that as a radius, it becomes 12,000 so it's 12,220 is it of a diameter, and 38,998.8 miles of a circumference at the equator. And you can get locations on the equator and locations on the Tropic of Cancer and locations on the Tropic of Capricorn. And if you do a straight line distance from a straight line distance from the North Pole to there, right, according to Google, right, use them as radiuses. That'll give you the sizes that the flat Earth would be. And that's what if you want to make models, then you've got to make the Tropic of Cancer 28,215.78 miles. The equator has to be 38,998.8 miles, and the Tropic of Capricorn has to be 49,181.82 miles. That's the way. I can't guarantee that they're exactly right, because I don't know where the exact North Pole is, or the exact what geographic North Pole is. I don't know how true any information we're getting is. All right, but if you want to make a model, then it has to have those diameters. If you want to make a model, it has to have those diameters, because that's what a flat Earth would be. Because it's impossible, absolutely impossible, to have an equator of 24,940 miles on a flat Earth. That's only possible on a globe, because the radius of 3959 miles, right, is smaller than the actual distance from what would be the geographic North Pole to the equator. Basically, because there is a lot more land being taken up by the curvature of that globe. Okay, so there's just what this means at the very end is that all timekeeping, right, and all the information we're getting concerning what we're trying to find out about flat Earth and what the sun is doing and all the rest of it, we won't find that out by going through the mainstream channels, because that's all based around a globe. A globe turning once a day and going on this offset elliptical orbit around the sun with all these different speeds and different tilts once a year. Right, but it doesn't change its tilt, but it's changing its position. So it's like it's tilted the opposite way. So it's not possible to find out. So there's no point in even critiquing what I put out earlier as far as the stuff. There's not really much point in even critiquing any of my presentations on the sunlight speed things, because they're all based on globe stuff anyway. So it's complete opposite from what I wanted to find out. So.
Okay, brilliant, excellent. Is that your presentation finished?
That's it. That unfortunately completely finishes off all three of them with a bullet.
Okay, that's great. Could you turn the watch page down?
I will do, yeah. Do you want me to on?
Or I'm getting a bit of feedback, just a tiny bit.
Okay, I have it on mute. What I'll do is I'll just get rid of it altogether. How is that?
Okay, it might be coming through your mic. It's fine, it's fine. Just wondering, did you say you had somewhere to go, or have you got more time to spend on here?
No, I can spend a bit of time. I know I went on a bit long. I like the sound of my own voice. I really spent a good long hour and a half there. But I'm okay. I'll spend an extra few minutes or whatever. If people want to ask questions and all that, there's no bothers.
Well, we have you know Brenda von Assen.
Yeah.
She's hopping up and down. She wants to debate you. I don't know whether that's something you'd be interested in doing right now.
Oh, debate me right now?
Yeah.
Well, if she wants to come in, I'll talk to her for a few minutes, but I can't go any more than a half hour if she wants to.
Okay. Well, I'll see if she wants to. I'll see if she wants to join. And let's see. Let's bring this over here. Let's see if I can find her. Let's add her to the call, see if she picks up. There we go. So let me add her to the call. So she should have this. Let's see if she picks up.
I'll stop sharing the screen as well, okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Good evening, Brenda. Nice to see you in.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Hello, Brenda.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, yes, you can hear me. So I just heard a lot of nonsense. All you did was deny that we can know anything, right? And all you did was deny that the clocks are accurate or everything like that. So a 24-hour sun, which is observed, documented, videoed at the southern pole,
Brenda,
refutes the flat Earth.
Just go back to what you just said. 1 second. what I said, right, wasn't about the accuracy of a clock. What I said, what I pointed out and showed, is what UTC time is based on. Okay, it's based on the rotation of a globe once a day and an offset elliptical orbit of the sun once a year. That's what UTC time is based on.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. How is that how is that relevant? That's not. How is that relevant? The point is,
I'm trying to find out
point is that
what the sun is doing, and it's giving me times for what I'm supposedly doing on a rotating globe, right? Then how can I find out independently what the sun is doing when it keeps telling me what I'm supposed to be doing?
No, but the question is that at the southern pole, we can see the sun 24 hours a day. That's impossible on a flat Earth, and you haven't addressed it.
But you can't see the sun 24 hours a day. There's no.
They can. There's videos. Dude, there's videos.
Well, how come the American Amundsen Scott station, right? How come they can't prove they're at 90 degrees south, and they can't prove there's a 24-hour sun? I mean, Brenda, they said that we don't have enough hard drive space. It's the American government.
I just want to say, guys, as well, if you want to head on over to Nathan Oakley's Flat Earth Debates, he's got his pre-show and after-show on right now. So, it's up to you guys if you want to head on over there or stay here and listen to Brenda and Brian getting into this.
Journalism, question about it. The whole journalism, we don't have enough hard drive space. They do someone else, we didn't have enough bandwidth. I mean, these are the people who should be able to prove it to us, Brenda. But they're not proving it to us.
There are videos that show a 24-hour sun.
Getting debunked.
Right? And it doesn't. No, it hasn't been.
Brenda,
no, it hasn't been.
Why would you need to fake it?
If they haven't faked it. You haven't shown that it was faked.
The videos were debunked, Brenda. They were shown that the video, like, people have debunked all them videos. They were jokes.
No, they haven't. No, they haven't.
Brenda, all these things have been debunked. I'm sorry, girl.
No, they haven't.
It's over.
There's videos all over. Yes, there are, showing a 24-hour sun.
There isn't even proof that they're at 90 degrees. There isn't even there's light past the 80th degree parallel. Actually, there's more evidence that suggests that there isn't.
Brian, it doesn't matter where they are. If they are seeing a 24-hour sun, that refutes that. No, it doesn't matter.
Some of the videos are taken from the Ross Dependency, right, which is a low-lying piece of land that's jutting out off of Antarctica towards South America. Now, even I spotted that there was no way they could be getting a 24-hour sun in the way they were supposedly getting it there, even if we were on a globe, because of their position. They wouldn't have been able to get that, right, the way they were doing it. And it was disproven. This video was disproven and shown to be debunked. I'm sure there's loads of flat earth people out there now who are getting the debunked videos, and they'll share them with you. Right? There was another one that was supposedly at Antarctica, and it turns out, and I saw it myself and said, no, that's up in the Arctic. That's not in Antarctica. And someone else proved it was in the Arctic. It was somewhere up in northern Greenland during the northern summer. Why does anyone need to fake these things if they're real?
They're not faked. If they're not faked, I can get hundreds of them just by a simple search.
You are a staunch globe believer, yes? You're a staunch globe believer. So
yeah, it's an absolute fact that you
are flat out.
Brian,
hang on.
Brian, when you ask,
just 1 second, guys. Just 1 second. Brenda's made a claim that there's hundreds of videos that she can get right now that show this. Perhaps you could share screens and show the audience and ourselves this then.
Yeah, because I guarantee the audience will know the debunk.
Just Google 24. Just Google 24-hour sun Antarctica. Dude, if you're going to have me on, allow me to talk. So just Google 24-hour sun Antarctica. The response you get from Google is in the hundreds, if not thousands. Right? Yeah. There are lots and lots of videos.
Well,
yes, there are.
Listen, I tell you, right, Brenda, this will solve the problem. You contact the Amundsen Scott station, right? It's supposedly at 90 degrees south. And you tell them your predicament and ask them to send you a 24-hour sun video so you can disprove flat earth. Now, that doesn't even mean it disproves flat earth. It just means that it proves there's a 24-hour sun. So if you really believe that, then you go and contact that Amazon Scott station, just like other people did. 2 flat earthers. I can't remember who the first guy was, but journalism was the second guy. So you contact them because they are contactable. If you really believe that. Why would anyone need to fake it, Brenda? There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Anyone can see there's like any amount of evidence that there's an Arctic 24-hour sun. But there isn't evidence enough to support a 24-hour sun in the Antarctic. It's just not there.
Yes, it is. You're just denying that. There are videos that are out there.
The evidence is there.
And you're just claiming that they've been debunked isn't debunking them.
But sure, if the evidence was there, I wouldn't even be talking about it. It's not there. The evidence is not there.
That's not true. That's not necessarily true.
Every time I see a new video that's supposed to be showing the 24-hour sun in Antarctica, only a short while later, I'm seeing the debunk video of it. One of the last ones that came out, ended up they were showing a loop. It was the same exact clouds came over. Well, it was supposed to be 24 hours later. It was the same exact clouds came over the top. It was a loop. They had a power loop.
I don't know what you're talking about, but of course you would loop it. Of course you would loop it.
One of the more recent ones.
Of course you would loop it. But the point is...
No, you wouldn't loop it. There'd be no need to loop it. Yes, you would. If it's a 24-hour sun video, you wouldn't need to have a looping part. A loop is a duplicate. You wouldn't need to have a loop. If it's a 20
I see.
It's a 20. You would. I saw the video. I can't remember who put it out, but I saw the debunking video, and I saw it before it was debunked, and I knew it was going to be debunked. And then I saw, because people do that. They like I couldn't be bothered with it, but other people, I had no belief in it in the first place. But then,
I had
no
Brian,
not even remotely surprised it was debunked.
Brian. As usual, ranty globe earther is refuting everything you've just said right now in his stream. He's showing a 24-hour sun. Ranty is showing a 24-hour sun right now in the video. Right now.
Hang on. One thing. Whoa. Don't misrepresent what I'm actually showing. I'm showing a video.
That's a 24-hour sun.
Hold on. Can you see the mountain here? Because I'm looking at this mountain here, and it doesn't have any snow on it whatsoever, right? This is the first time I've seen this video.
It's covered in snow.
This one is not covered in snow.
Yes, it
has
is.
No snow. It has a tiny bit of snow on the bottom left, and a little smudge there, but there isn't any real. Oh, what's that? What's this?
What's what? What's what? I don't.
That?
You're not showing anything. There's a delay. I'm not seeing what you're seeing. There's a delay.
Okay.
Okay. Now I see the mountain you're talking about. So what? Not every mountain in Antarctica is covered with snow.
Hang on. Is he? I just wanted to say he shows his watch, right? He shows his watch. This is the time, and then he cuts to a mountain that's in the background. So when he showed the watch, he had a mountain in the background with no snow upon. And then when the video starts with a mountain covered in snow.
That mountain was in shadow, wasn't it?
Brenda, these are the problems. These are the these little things like this. Right? Why is there a need for such nonsense?
What nonsense?
This is not what the man is doing here. What Ranty is showing, this nonsense this guy is showing here. There is no need for this nonsense. If it's a true thing, there is no need for this kind of nonsense.
Do you think? Do you think that the sun?
McMurdo is in the Ross Dependency, which is out piece of land jutting out towards South America. So it's not up on the ice shelf.
So do you think that that it could have snowed?
Well, overnight.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be filming from midnight.
Yeah.
Do you think it could have snowed? Do you think it could have snowed overnight?
Not in a second.
Yeah, it could have.
He just started the video and suddenly it was all snowy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think it could have snowed? This is a time lapse, dude. Do you think it could have snowed? This is a time lapse.
Yeah, it might have snowed.
Do you think that those? Do you think that those vehicles? Do you think that those vehicles in the foreground are moving around at that speed?
Yeah,
no,
Brenda,
it's a time lapse.
How come there was no snow and then there was snow?
Because it snowed.
Yeah, well, how come there was no snow and then it did snow? But the point is that how come there was no snow and then suddenly there was loads of snow?
Because it's a
He's supposed to
time
start the
lapse.
video from there. He showed his watch. That's when the video was supposed to
Yeah,
start. Right. And a second later, there's snow on
It
it.
wasn't a second later. It's a time lapse.
Brenda, if you go back to the start of Brandy, if you go back to the start of that video, you show your man showing his watch, and then suddenly there's snow. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It shows his watch, and then look, no snow, right? No snow. There it is. That's the start of the video. Look, no snow. Here we go. Right. There we go. Right. There's the sun over to the right hand side, supposedly.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody's seen
no
that.
Snow and snow. No
Yeah,
snow.
Nobody thinks that was.
Why was that?
Right, because nobody thinks that was supposed to be continuous. Most people understand this was a time lapse.
Doing the video, it's a continuous 24-hour time lapse.
No.
Brenda, that's what it's supposed to be, a continuous 24-hour time lapse. That's the proof of it. If they don't have that, then they don't have any proof.
They did have it.
The original American
showed it to you.
Spot station
They showed it to you.
Even that was more believable than that. He didn't.
Brian,
that's what he wrote there.
Brian, they showed it to you.
Who did, Brenda?
Just now, the people in that film.
They showed that within a second. That
they showed.
The mountain can have no snow. Can it snow? Can
Brian,
that fall in a second? Where are all the clouds?
Brian,
Brenda,
you need to pause and take breaths, for one thing, and for another.
No, Brenda, what you're doing is you're trying to avoid the reality that within a second of that video, there was no a hill or mountain, whatever you want to call it, went from having no snow on it to everything being covered in snow.
Because it snowed.
Sorry. No, yeah, why? Within a second, Brenda?
Yeah,
it's not a second. It's not a second. Nobody thinks.
It's supposed to be time lapse. It's supposed to be a time lapse, not a time jump. It's not supposed to be a time.
That's what a time lapse is.
Brenda.
Brian, that's what a time lapse is. It's a jump.
No, a time lapse is not.
Yes, it is.
Time lapse is not a jump. A time lapse
is
a full video sped up. A full video sped up.
It's not sped up.
Brenda, you're just talking nonsense at this stage.
Brian,
a time lapse video is. A time lapse video is a sped up video.
No, it's not.
Sped up.
No, it isn't. No, it is not. Excuse me, Brian. Let me respond.
20s channel.
Brian, let me respond.
Of the EQ Mount telescope.
Brian.
Following the sun. Right.
Brian.
That's a 24-hour time lapse there. You watch that. That's a time lapse.
Brian.
He's on your.
Brian.
What do you want?
Brian, be quiet. A time lapse.
Brenda,
Brian.
Brenda, what's the point of this?
Brian, a time lapse is not a sped up video. A time lapse is a video where you take individual frames over periods of time. It's actually literally a jump in time.
It's not a jump.
Yes, it is.
It's not a jump in time.
That's literally what a time lapse is, Brian.
It is not a jump in time. A time lapse.
Yes, it is. You take a single
video.
Brian.
Or it's a long period of time shortened into a.
You take a single frame, Brian. You take a single frame, and then you wait an hour or a certain designated amount of time, and then you take another frame. That's what a time lapse is. And I'm saying that in between,
I would have to prove it then. Sure wouldn't prove it.
And I'm saying that in between, it's Brian.
Jump by an hour here and there.
Brian, settle down. Brian, you need to let other people talk.
Next day, Brenda.
Brian, you need to let other people talk.
You're wrong, but you're wrong. You're wrong.
I don't care. Let other people talk, Brian.
Brenda, you're wrong to concede when you're wrong.
Talk. Brian.
Well, give us the definition of a time-lapse video.
A succession of still images, still frames taken a certain time with a certain distance or time between each other.
Yeah,
right.
5 past 12 shown there on the man's watch. 5 past 12.
Yeah.
Right. Now he's putting it on to slow. Right.
And then
go.
No.
Watch this. A time lapse should start from here. Right.
No. That's not.
There should be no jumps, none of that, no cuts. A time lapse is a full video.
That's not what a time lapse is.
That's
Brian.
what a time lapse is.
No, it isn't.
Time lapse. Hang on, I'll have to. Right. 1 second now. Right, give it a second.
I'm aware that it starts.
I'm going to Google it now in a minute. As soon as I see this part on the video, I'm going to Google it for you. What a time lapse is. A time lapse is a full video, Brenda. Right?
No, it's not.
It's a full video over.
And that's obviously a jump.
See, there
Brian,
you go.
Yes, I'm aware of that. Brian, let me talk. Brian, let me talk.
Is that a time lapse? Does that prove? Does that prove
Brian,
24-hour sun, Brenda?
Let me talk, Brian.
Does that prove a 24-hour sun, Brenda?
Brian.
Does that prove a 24-hour?
Brian, let me talk. Let me talk, Brian. That's obviously they took a base starting and then they started it at a later time. I don't know why. I don't know why they chose. Maybe because it snowed.
It's a farce.
Maybe it snowed.
It snowed. It's a farce.
I think the point of what I showed you there was that there was no need for that guy to show you his watch at the start of the video if that was going to be a complete 24-hour sun. The idea of the video was it was a 24-hour sun. He showed the clock saying just 5 past midnight or 5 past 12 in the afternoon, whichever. It was just after midday or midnight. And he was showing you his watch and showing you, pointing out the sun, pointing out the direction. And when it cut to the actual video, you could see that there'd been a massive storm rolling and that entire mountain and all the buildings underneath were covered in snow. And that hadn't happened in a split second. So it couldn't have been on the same day. It couldn't have been on the same day. So it couldn't have been on the same day. It's like, why, if you're going to film a 24-hour sun, would you show the watch and then show the sun going around, but you actually see continuity errors or something inside the video, and that was one of them. That was a major one. There's no need to fake that. There's no need to put spliced clips in. If you're going to do it, you do it properly. You show the time, you step away, you film the sun. You don't just add other things in on a different video, different clip. That didn't make any sense.
The rest of the video shows a 24-hour sun, though.
But how can we confirm? The point is,
the rest of the video shows a 24-hour sun.
I don't know that. But what I would say...
Yes, it does.
Well, listen,
it shows it.
Just let me finish. Brenda. If they're going to edit that part out at the start, what's to say they're not going to edit other stuff? That's the point. Well, there's no need for it.
Can't be.
Do you have any evidence? Do you have any evidence that it was fake?
The evidence is in the video, Brenda. The evidence
that's not evidence that it was faked.
That's absolute evidence that there's something wrong with it.
No, it is. No, it isn't. How is it evidence that it was fake?
Is that the best you've got for a 24-hour sun? Is that the best evidence you got?
No, there's dozens of other videos showing a 24-hour sun.
I've seen several of these videos, and they always get debunked. And the fact that anyone needs to do that little jump there or ever bring out a fake video, and that the Amundsen Scott station themselves that are supposedly at 90 degrees south can't give you a full 24-hour video because they don't have enough bandwidth.
Did.
Or is it Howard Drive space? Or
the video shows a 24-hour sun.
Women don't have all that. Brenda, they don't.
It does. The video shows
14-hour day. They are missing about 10 hours of the day.
The video still shows a 24-hour sun.
It doesn't show a 24-hour.
Yes, it does. It does.
Let's jump in the video where they call
it. And there's plenty of others. There's plenty of other videos.
There is no 24. There is no evidence.
Okay, well, I'm just going to check the clouds on this video. I'm going to watch the clouds and see if there's any continuity breaks with the clouds. Oh, what happened there?
Well, it's a time lapse. It's a time lapse. So you see things jumping around. There's cars jumping around.
I understand that, Brenda.
That's a time lapse.
I understand that.
I did see a debunk of this video myself. I can't remember what it was, but
that doesn't mean anything.
But sure, it does. If something is debunked, it means something. You should. If it was,
I've just found it. I've just found the part where I've just seen it. How can you deny this? This is so freaking obvious.
Deny what?
Right. Okay. So this is for the
What
audience.
am I
you're
denying?
going to see this. You're going to see this in a little bit. But what you're going to see is this is the wind direction. Obviously, you've got this is the direction of the wind. But you're going to see that the clouds are going one way, and in a minute you're going to see the clouds going this direction away from us, which is totally the different directions of the wind. Here we go.
Yeah. Do you think that
the clouds going in the opposite direction?
Yeah. Do you think that wind at the surface level can be different than up at the higher levels in the sky?
Yeah, but the thing is,
they can be.
Just a minute. A few minutes before, obviously this is a time lapse, but a few minutes before, the clouds are going in totally the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Clouds move at different directions during different times of the day.
Okay. Yeah,
how does that disprove anything?
Here they're going over us. And when we face the other way,
there's no clouds.
When we face the other way, here we go.
Yes, if you face the other way, it's going to go in a different direction, isn't it?
Yeah, I just want to show something. If you go back there just before the sun was...
See, that's a complete circle. That was a complete circle.
Yeah, but now they're going in the complete opposite direction.
Yeah. Complete opposite direction. If just before the sun went past that pole...
It's 24 hours later, dude.
Before it goes past that pole.
Brian,
Brian,
it's 24 hours later.
Yeah, no, Brenda.
Yes, it is. They went in the complete circle. That's 24 hours.
24 hours.
That's what it means. What do you think 24-hour sun means?
I do know exactly what it means. You see the article.
So we start at the beginning. From the beginning to the... It goes in a full circle.
In front of us,
Brian.
What happens with the sun?
Crap, Brian. Do you have some kind of a mental illness? What the fuck?
Completely changes. The whole sun completely changes.
And then it comes back.
The sun doesn't change at all. What are you talking about?
Brenda, there's too many problems with this video.
There's no problem. What problem with it?
Immediately, Randy spotted two problems. This is also a problem, what the sun is doing down now. Right? If that's 24 hours, if that's supposed to be 24 hours later, Brenda, how come the sun is not in the same place in the sky? If you go back to the start, Randy, and see the 24-hour sun in the sky, right, it's up on the right-hand side. How come the sun is not
looped? It's looped.
They don't start...
This is looped. This is the start of the video. This cloud that's rolling in is the start of the 24-hour sun at the end of the first sun. I can tell these clouds, it was those they call them these cumulus clouds. And those clouds are now going over, after the other clouds are just going away, these are coming over, and this is the same cloud, I am sure of it, at the start of the... If I go back to the start of the video, this is the start of the video.
Yeah.
Oh, it's exactly the same cloud! It's exactly the same damn cloud.
It's not the same.
It is. I've literally just done it now. I've literally just done it.
Hey,
I've gone to 23 seconds. I've gone to 23 seconds.
Something right there. If you go back, there was smoke coming out of a chimney there, and suddenly there was no smoke.
Right, so I'm on 23 seconds now.
Because it's 24 hours later, dude.
I'm on 23 seconds now, and when I go to 1 minute and 23, it's the same damn cloud that rolls in. It's the same damn cloud.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same. What a con.
Yeah, the whole thing is a con. If you even go back a little bit, you'll see there was smoke coming out of the building that's right in front of us there, that building right in front of us. There was a smoke coming out of there, and suddenly the smoke just disappeared. Like it wasn't coming, and it was a completely different... The light is changing too much. The light in that video continually
changes. What do you mean the light? Of course the light is changing.
No, Brenda.
What are you talking about?
At the wrong time.
The sun is going... The sun goes around in... The sun goes around in a perfect circle.
Space than where it was 20.
The sun goes around in a perfect circle.
That's right, it does. It does
go
us in a perfect circle.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's what you'd expect to see. That's what
you wouldn't see the
same
clouds rolling in. You wouldn't see the same clouds rolling in.
You don't. You don't.
You do. Yeah.
No, you don't.
A load of things. Randy's has already spotting 3 or 4 things.
Randy, would you post
things?
Would you post the link?
It took me.
Randy,
would
you post the link? Would you post the link so I can see it?
Sure.
Which one you're talking about?
It took me what? How long did it take me? A couple of watches of that video, and I picked it out immediately. Same clouds. Wow. I mean, that's just a killer. It's the exact.
They're not the same clouds.
Same. It's the exact same.
They're not the same.
Yeah, it's the exact same. It's the exact
same.
The same. This is the end of the 24-hour cycle, and this is going back to the start of the cycle. So that's the end of the cycle. Would
you post the link, please?
It's the exact same cloud. that rolls
Would you
over.
post the link, please? Would you post
Where do you
the
want
link,
it?
please?
In your Skype?
In the chat, either one. I don't care.
Is this the best you got, Garen?
I'll put it on the. I'll put it in the. On the watch page. I'll put it on the watch page. Wow.
Yeah. This is the problem, Brenda, with the whole 24-hour sun thing. These kind of videos is the best that people can come up with. It's like, this is the problem. There shouldn't be this problem. Why is there a need for any fakery or nonsense? If it's there...
Nobody faked anything. You haven't shown that there was fakery.
We've shown a load of problems with this video. The start, there's no snow, and then there's snow. That's the start of it. You know, that was supposed to be the start of the video, and the sun is off up to the right-hand side of him, right? And you can see it's supposedly shining in. Then suddenly the sun is a completely
There's no
part of the sky.
There's no
and
clouds.
Sorry?
There's no clouds at the start.
I said the sun was up to the right-hand side, and then suddenly there's snow, and the sun is a different part of the sky.
So that's obviously
time lapse.
Yeah. So obviously that's hours later. Brian, Brian, I have to be able to get Brian.
Hang on.
Brian.
Hang on. I'm reading.
I want to.
1 second,
Brian.
Time
no,
lapse.
Brian. I want to. Brian. Brian. It starts at the upper right-hand corner of the frame, and then the real time lapse. It's towards the bottom of the horizon by the mountain. That's obviously hours later. It's hours later.
He was supposed to be starting at 12:05 where he was showing his watch. What is even the point of that part of the video? It's nonsense. Randy just had a quick look at it and he spotted three completely fabricated pieces within the video. It's nonsense.
At the beginning,
that video, Brenda, it's ridiculous.
Brian, allow me to talk, please.
Hang on, 1 second. I'm going to read it, Brenda.
Brian, allow me to talk, please.
I want to read out the definition of a time lapse.
I want to say something. At time zero on the video you linked, the sun is right there in the upper right-hand corner. And then when the part that you say where they jumped, right, and the mountain is covered with snow, the sun is towards the horizon, towards the bottom of that mountain. That's a jump of several degrees. That's obviously hours later.
Exactly, Brenda. It's obviously a different time. It means it can't be trusted. That was supposed to be the start
that doesn't mean anything. It just means that they started.
When he showed it, that was the very first problem.
It just means that they started it later.
Brenda. It's a joke. If you're trying to make the world...
No, that doesn't mean anything.
Sun, right, with that, you're at nothing.
So the video starts...
It's a joke.
The video starts with the sun right nestled in the corner, the upper right-hand corner.
You don't even have any understanding of what a time lapse video is.
I know what a time lapse is. It's a succession of still videos.
Right, I'm going to read out
frames.
Still frames of a time lapse video. Time lapse is a video recording mode that captures video at a very low frame rate, around 1 to 2 frames per second. Although this depends on the length of the recording.
Yes, it does. It depends.
In fact, time lapse video is almost the opposite of slow motion. Right? Now,
exactly what I said.
Oh, no,
that's what I've been saying. That's what I've been saying.
It cuts out hours. That's what you said.
Well, I don't know what the time frame is.
You said it cuts out hours. It's nonsense, Brenda. You have no evidence of a 24-hour Antarctic sun. Right?
It's a time frame. What you read supports everything I said, Brian. What you read supports everything I've said. And the other point is that the video starts with the sun at the upper right-hand corner, tucked up in the corner, and then the proper part of it. And right. Yes, I understand that. I understand that, Brian. Brian, I understand that. Brian, I understand. Brian,
stop me.
Brian,
this is just
Brian.
Brenda, this is it.
Brian,
this is it. This is all you've got. You don't have evidence, Brenda.
Brian, Brian, you have to let the other person talk once.
Because
Brian,
it just keeps on wanting to.
Brian,
I'm wanting to tell me what a
Brian,
story of what a time lapse is.
Brian.
Hold on, guys, just hold your little
Well,
horses.
he just needs. He's not letting me talk.
Just hold your horses here, guys. Right, listen. If you can see this on the watch page, maybe I should. I'm not going to share my screen because if I do, it just slows my PC down. So you're going to have to watch this on the watch page, right? But I literally took a screenshot. This is at 20. On the left is at 23 seconds, and the image on the right is taken from 1 minute and 23 seconds. Right? You can see that on the scroll bar at the bottom. I've just literally taken these screenshots now, and you can see 100% that they are the same clouds. There isn't a single difference on any of these clouds. Not a single piece.
We're not seeing it, Randy. It's not up on the screen.
It should be on the watch page now. Go to the watch page.
It's only my icon is on the watch page, and I'm not sharing my screen. So,
Brenda, have a look at my watch page. Tell me that isn't the same clouds.
I checked it on my video, and they're completely different.
Check it on the image that I have. Check it on the image that I have on screen right now on my live stream, and tell me that isn't the same image.
Exactly the same.
I checked it on my video.
Check it on my screen.
Ranty, you have to allow me to speak. I checked at 1 minute and 23 seconds and at 23 seconds, and the cloud formations are different.
Okay, so and what do you think that's just happened when I've just opened up Paint for everybody to see, and then off screen I literally took two screenshots of one at 23 seconds and one at 1 minute 23. You can see that in the image on the bottom because you can see it on the scroll bar, the red scroll bar at the bottom with the timestamp on, and you can see that they're the same clouds.
Exactly the same. It's impossible to get it that much.
I haven't edited them. That is exactly as it presents itself.
Do you see the problem, Brenda?
No. Pregnant pause.
No, I don't.
Pregnant pause. Let Brenda think about it.
I was looking.
That's good.
And it looks like it might be the case. I haven't looked systematically, but it looks like it just loops at the end. They just loop back over again.
Why does it loop back at the end, Brenda?
Why not?
Because it's not supposed to. It's supposed to be showing.
Why?
Day.
Why? Why is it not supposed to?
Day, Brenda. That's supposed to be 24 hours later. Not exactly the same thing. This is the problem, Brenda.
And 23 seconds. No, I'm sorry, but I keep checking it. And I go to the timestamp of 23 seconds and of 1 minute and 23 seconds, and the clouds are different.
Well, what Ranty is showing on the screen here now are two screenshots from the same exact video at two different points of the time lapse, and it's exactly the same image, the exact same image. I bet you if you look down at the more minor details on the ground and smoke coming out and different things where people are standing and different things, I guarantee you'll find it is exactly the same. If there's a mouse in the video, it'll be in the same exact place.
I don't think so.
This is the problem, Brenda. This is why nobody has any faith in there being a 24-hour Antarctic sun. It's because of things like this. If this was real, if the 24-hour Antarctic sun was real, then there wouldn't be a need for all this nonsense. There wouldn't be. We wouldn't need to fake it if it's real.
Yeah, I don't think that it's faked.
But Ranty's just shown you that it's faked. He just showed you there.
No,
right?
He hasn't.
Right.
I checked it. I checked it with my.
Oh, well, you checked it.
I checked it, and the clouds are in different places. At 23 seconds and at 1 minute and 23 seconds, the two cloud formations are at different places.
Yeah,
I did. I checked it.
It's supposed to be a 24-hour sun. It's supposed to be 24-hour sun, yet 24
They show 24
is
hours.
exactly the same as it was 24 hours beforehand.
It's
Every
not
bit of
exactly
smoke,
the same.
Every cloud, every shadow, everything is exactly the same.
No, there's not. You haven't shown that.
Ranty just had the two screenshots up.
No, it doesn't show that.
Brenda.
It doesn't show that.
It does. It just showed it.
No, it doesn't. You just claimed that, and I checked it, and it doesn't check out.
There's no evidence to support a 24-hour Antarctic sun. It's just not there.
There's plenty of other videos too.
You believe, yeah, but that's going to be the same thing again. Other videos is going to be the same
No,
thing.
you don't know that. You can't say that.
They all get debunked. No,
they don't.
Every one of them gets debunked.
No, they don't get debunked.
Every one of them gets debunked, Brenda. This was debunked.
No, you claiming that they get debunked doesn't mean that they have been.
Ranty debunked this in literally, I'd say, 3 minutes.
No, it wasn't debunked at all.
This is really stubborn of you, Brenda.
This is unbelievable.
Well, the claim that you made, you couldn't substantiate it because I checked and it wasn't the way you said it was.
Well,
Ranty.
I've just done it for the audience. I just done it live for the audience. I just did it live for the audience on the YouTube video.
If I checked at a minute and 23 and at 23 seconds, and the cloud formations are different.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask Professor Phil Bell, who's in the actual chat right now, who's just made a comment, and I'm going to ask him if he thinks that the images are the same and that they are actually from the video. And let's see if one of your Globe Earth friends is going to back you up on this or refute it. Let's see what he comes up with. I'll leave it. If it takes about 30 seconds, so you guys carry on and let's just see what he comes back with.
Yeah, okay. The problem, Brenda, is that this is supposed to be proof of a 24-hour sun, yet
it is.
There's obvious problems with the video. So if this is the best that they've got, or the best that people can get, then there's no evidence to support a 24-hour sun. Everything is against it.
No, there's dozens of videos.
24-hour sun.
There's dozens of videos, Brian.
Brenda,
you haven't shown that this is...
Amundsen Scott station. Contact that Amundsen Scott station, just like journalism and the other guy before him did back in 2015 and 2016. You contact that station and you get them to send you a video of 24-hour sun.
By the way, I can't screen share in Skype. So the point is that I checked your claim. You said to look at a minute and 23 and at 23 seconds, and the cloud formations are different. The smokestacks formations are different.
It's showing different there on screen that it's exactly the same.
I can't speak for Ranty, but I checked.
No, it's your
23 seconds. I checked at 23. I checked at 23 seconds and a minute and 23 seconds. And the cloud formations are different, and the smokestacks are different.
Well, you're welcome to go off and show all the differences.
Sure.
Come back onto Ranty's and disprove it. I
can see it right in front of me.
Brenda, Jesus, this is ridiculous. Look,
this is a toe tag for the ages. This one.
They're different.
I don't know what more we could say, on this. They could be more similar. They're exact twins of each other. I don't know what to say to you.
They're not. I'm looking at it on my other screen right now, and I'm flicking back and forth between 23 seconds and a minute and 23, and they are different.
No. I don't know what else to say. It's just this is epic because the very thing you came in to argue has been debunked in front of your eyes, and you're denying it.
It hasn't been.
It has been. It couldn't be any more debunked.
I checked it myself, and it's different.
Show us different.
I can't screen share on Skype. You know that.
I can screen share on Skype.
I'll make it different. I'll make a video of my own.
Come back to Ranty's with it and disprove Ranty, because Ranty's after disproving that video being 24-hour time lapse of Antarctica. So the Antarctic 24-hour sun.
Mhm.
That's the best thing.
So what other proofs of the flat Earth do you have?
Proofs of the flat Earth. I don't know. There's loads of them, Brenda.
Well, name one. Name one.
Well, the video, the picture from the other day that shows the horizon past the two oil rigs, even though the camera's only 12 inches off the sand.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, well,
but how do you have to? The flat Earth has.
But it's actually well over miles away.
Flat Earth has to account for a number of different things. For instance, you have to have. Do you have a model?
A model. Well,
Yes.
we don't. We're not looking for a model, Brenda. We don't live on models.
You need to have one. You need to have one.
The globe have a model.
Yeah, but you need to have a model.
Would you share it with Ranty then?
You need You need to have
You
a
share
model. I don't.
the model with Ranty, so everyone can.
No, I'm asking you for the model of the flat Earth.
I'm not claiming to have one.
What? Yes, I know, but you need to have one. When is Flat Earth going to make one?
I don't know. I'm not looking for one. You say that there is a model. Do you agree that there's a globe model? That there is a model of the globe?
I'm asking about the Flat Earth model. You know what the globe Earth model? The globe Earth model is that it's a globe.
But that's not a model.
Yes, it is. That's what a model is.
A model has to be a scientific model. It can't just be, a photograph or,
Yes, it can.
A blow up globe that you throw out into the water or into a swimming pool.
No, it can be.
No, that's a belief, Brenda. That's not the same thing.
It's just the globe Earth model is that the Earth is a globe.
But that's a belief. That's not a model.
That's not a belief. That's a model.
But sure, then my model of the flat Earth is that the Earth is flat.
Oh, okay. Then you need to be able to explain observations that we can see that are not contradicted by your flat Earth model.
Like what observations?
Day and night. How do you explain nighttime?
I just did earlier on with the solar analemma. I explained it. The sun goes away from you. It comes back the next day.
But that's not how light works.
How do you know how light works?
We all know how light works. We know how light works. If you have a light source above a flat disk, it will illuminate the entire disk.
It depends on the size of the light source and the size of the disk.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
I should be able to see the sun from any point on the Earth, as long as I have an unobstructed view. I should be able to take a telescope. I should be able to take a telescope.
We've had a response from Professor Phil Bell, who says, Brenda's not wrong. Brenda is correct. It's just that this video might not be the best video to use for the 24-hour sun. There you go.
So he confirms that I'm not wrong. Good. So the point, to get back to the point is...
No, you're not wrong about the 24-hour sun, but that this video is certainly compromised.
No, he said I was not wrong. He said I was not wrong.
Professor Phil Bell very politely said, he agrees with you that there is a 24-hour sun, but this video is certainly not evidence of it. He disagrees with you.
He didn't say that.
This is evidence of it.
He didn't say that.
He did say that.
No, he didn't. He said this might not be the best. He didn't say it wasn't evidence. He didn't say it wasn't evidence. He said it might not be the best. Is there some kind of problem that you have, Brian? Why can't you allow other people to talk?
I am allowing you to talk.
No, you're not. You have consistently spoken over me.
And you've done the same.
The entire time. No, because I'm trying to talk.
And so am I.
Well, you need to allow the other person to talk.
And so do you.
I do.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
I certainly do.
So
let's get back to your flat Earth.
No, right. Let's get back to the 24-hour sun thing. Actually, look, I'll be honest with you. I'm going to have to go pretty soon because I was supposed to have gone before this, but I allowed the time to go on to bring so Ranty could bring you in, and you wanted to argue with me about the 24-hour sun. Now we've argued about the 24-hour sun, and Ranty has shown with this video how fake these videos are. Right? He has proven.
He has not.
This video
He has not.
So it does not.
No.
There isn't. So there still is at this point, at this date in time, no evidence to support a 24-hour sun. Right? There's only a belief. There's no evidence to support it. So I don't know what to say to you. You came in to argue the point.
Ranty, did you?
You disagree that those two photographs are the same. You say there's differences between them. So what we'll do from here is that you go off and you find those differences and you come back and you present on Ranty's and you can debate with me about it, no bothers.
Yeah, I think we'll do this another time, guys. I think we'll we'll finish up this and we'll carry on another time. Is that okay with you guys?
It would stay longer, but I have responsibilities to deal with, and I've let it go on a bit longer. And I enjoyed it, and it was good fun, and I'd like to stay longer. But what's going to happen is we're going to the next subject and the next subject and the next subject, and we'll be arguing about this and arguing about that, and it's not going to go anywhere. So let's stick to this, Brenda. You go and you find the differences between those two photographs, and you bring it back and present it.
I'm calling fraud. I think that.
I'm Ranty on this video.
No, just a minute. Let me talk, please. Ranty.
Yes.
You have faked those screenshots.
Okay.
Yes. I checked.
Ranty's handy, but he's not that good at it.
I have checked, and I'm convinced that you are a liar, and you have faked those screenshots.
Well, anyone
I can prove it, and I think I can prove it.
Okay, if you can prove it, fire away.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's it. Brenda should make a video and come back with it then, and we'll debate then on that. You just let Brandy know when you have your video made.
Yeah, I'll look forward to that. I'll look forward to it.
That will be good.
No, I'm calling you out, Ranty. You're a liar.
Okay.
And a fraud.
Okay.
You faked the screenshots.
Okay, if you say so, Brenda.
Yeah, you have.
You start laughing yourself there.
No, you have. I'm convinced that you have.
Okay, well, remember, Brenda, anyone can download this video and get those exact screenshots.
Well, hang on, wait a minute. Just a minute.
That's the point.
If I fake them,
what I'm going to do, and it's going to show that you're a liar.
So if I fake them, is that because you're looking at these images and you agree that they are identical?
They do look identical, yes.
And the only reason they look identical is because I've faked them?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Good
because
stuff.
I've looked at the exact same timestamp and it's completely different.
Completely different.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It's that different. It's not just different, it's completely different. All right. Well, you know what to do then. You make the video and come back and you prove that Ranty is a whiz at CGI. Yeah, you prove Ranty is a whiz, a secret whiz at CGI. Okay?
Okay, Brian. Well, thanks for coming. Thanks for your presentation. If you want to drop, my friend, by all means, you drop and you sort your business out that you need to do. Brenda, if you want to stay on for a couple of minutes, I don't mind.
Yeah. Well, look, if you want to keep the show going, I might go. And if you're going to keep the show going, unless you're going to end the show, then I'll stay on till the end.
I'm going to stay on for another 5 minutes or so. I'm just going to quick chat with Brenda, then round up.
Okay, sure. Look, I'll stay till the end. I'll stay till the end. Not to jump out on the show. I knew I had to go to do stuff, so I couldn't leave it go any longer. That's what it was. And as well as that, we were going to go on to a next point and the next point and the next point, and we would be here for another 2 hours. That kind of it.
Okay, so well, somebody's just asked me to do this live, so I'm going to go to the video. I'm going to try and stop it on the exact same frame. So let's see if I can do that. Let's see if I can get it up. Oh, it's starting to play then. So no. So let's go back to 23. Yeah, that's the one. 23 seconds, Antarctic 24 sun. So if I take a screenshot of this, so you should be able to watch this on the watch page. I'm going to bring this up. File, new. So I'm going to paste that into there. So there we go. So that's the Antarctic sun on the right. So now what I'm going to do is go back to the video. I'm going to go with, that's not that one, this one. So I need to go to 1 minute and 23, and I need to try and stop it on the exact same frame. Oh, there. Just 1 second, guys. It's I've got the whirly whirl. Come on. There we go. Right, so I'm back. So I need to go to 1 minute and 23, and hopefully, no, struggling with this time delay. Maybe put it on slow.
I'll just say something there while you're doing that. Professor Phil Bell asked where was the silver bullet. The silver bullet was the fact that it wasn't possible to get independent information on what the sun was doing, as all the information that I could find, or anyone can find from time and date or any sun calc, any of these, they're all based on the opposite of a flat Earth. They're all based on the rotation of a globe and its orbit of the sun. So everything we're getting was information based on that, not based on what the sun was doing. So there was no point in even critiquing their presentations, because they were all based on the pre-assumption of a globe. Anyway, not pre-assumption of what the sun was doing, it's what the globe is doing around the sun. That was the point.
There we go. So I've just done it live, and we have the same clouds. Not quite the exact frame on this particular case. Not quite the exact frame, but good enough.
Close to it, very close to it, yeah.
But good enough.
Yeah.
There's the exact. There's the almost exact. Happy days.
Yeah.
Right, so yeah, that's going to do for now. Brenda, any last words before we go?
Is Brenda even there?
I don't know. Is she there? Oh no, she's left. She's dropped.
She's dropped.
I think that was because I was doing it live.
She wasn't hanging around for that. I wonder why she didn't say that when you didn't get the exact frame. I was waiting for her to say, "See, I told you, you were a liar," and she was gone. That's gas. She's gas one.
Oh, that's a toe tag, that for sure.
That was good. That was good at the
end. She's scarpered.
Yeah, she's gone. She's right. She's right too. I wouldn't hang around for that either. She knew she couldn't debunk it, so she was gone. Right. She must have a sense of humour. Like, she has to have a big sense of humour. But the way she carries on, like, you know, you'd have to have a sense of humour. You couldn't look at yourself in the mirror after that, like, if you were serious. You know?
Oh dear me. Well, thanks very much, Brian, for turning up. Thanks for staying around for as long as you have. I do appreciate it.
No worries, Randy. It was a good show, good fun. Thank you. Thanks for allowing me to present it.
Yeah, no worries, mate. One last thing before I go, just another shout out to the Patreon. So if anybody wants to support this show on that, if you like what you see, if you enjoy the shows and the format, etc., head on over, Ranty Flat Earth on Patreon. The link's in the description underneath this video. So I would appreciate it if you feel like you could support the show. Thank you, and thank you again repeatedly if you do it. So thank you. Right, that'll do. Brian, excellent presentation as usual. I think I might have a debate tomorrow. I think I've got a debate happening tomorrow. So it's in the pipe works. If it doesn't come off, I'll release a after show tomorrow instead, and then hopefully maybe. We might even get Kovacs on Thursday as well, so plenty to look forward to. But in the meantime, if you want to head on over to Brian's Logic, that's his channel name, Brian's Logic, subscribe over there. And And yeah, as for now, oh, Nathan is still live. Nathan Oakley, 1980 is still live, or is it on just the Nathan Oakley channel? It'll be the Nathan Oakley channel. So if you want to go on over there, I'll put the link in a moment to the to his live stream. And if you guys want to go over there, watch the end of his show. I think I've kept most of you for far too long. But in the meantime, yeah, brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, and I will see you all in the next one.